Hi everyone, my name is Old Gamer Joe, co-founder of Media Moogle. Media Moogle is dedicated to bringing video games, game music, and indie games and developers the love and recognition that they deserve. Free yourself from the shackles of mainstream gaming coverage, and check out some of our wonderful content at MediaMoogle.net. It's time to say goodbye to the echo chamber, and join us on this wonderful campaign to give the voiceless ones in this industry a voice again.
Salutations and welcome to the Manabar Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Rhodes, and I'm joined here with Matt Samarco.
Hey, what's going on, Andy?
And Dan Party.
Hey!
How's it going?
Me.
Good.
Huh?
Good.
I said you never answer me.
Honey, what'd you ask?
How you doing?
Oh, I'm good.
How's it going?
I'm good.
People rarely respond to that.
I don't have I ever responded to that.
He just ignores me at the
He's
beginning.
finally,
That's how we start every
37
podcast.
episodes in, he finally
Every
broke a
podcast.
has acknowledged your hello or how are
He's
you.
been eating me up inside every time. I
Fun
just
fact,
boiled over finally.
I've known Matt for over 4 years now. I've never once listened to what he said. It's just been like kind of coincidental that I've answered all of his questions.
That's fair. That sounds about right.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Matt, PAX is really close.
It's 2 months away. I'm getting
It's
excited.
less.
PAX
Bit less.
East.
It's
Yeah.
End of February?
End of February.
What are the
for some
you know the exact
stupid
dates?
reason. It's like the weekend of the 28th, so it like goes into March.
Now, Matt thinks it's stupid simply because there are two things Matt hates in this world, and one of them is the winter weather. The other one is bad drivers.
Oh my god.
I thought it was waiting.
And those are combined when you're driving.
Which bad drivers
Oh,
constantly
yeah,
do.
like-
When I have to
waiting.
drive into Boston in the bad weather, that's going to be the worst. It's going to be cold and everyone's going to be poorly driving.
Yeah, but
And it's
PAX.
going to be congested.
You could make somebody else
Yeah,
drive.
True. Of
course
I
not,
mean,
Chris.
me and Andy switched off last year,
Yeah,
which
that's
was nice.
what we usually do. Yeah, well, you like
Oh, there you go. That
buddy
works.
system.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to work for something. So do you guys ever get this way? This is random little tangent to start off the podcast,
Sweet,
I guess.
sweet.
Love tangents.
Just go off the rails right away.
Video games related.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's not one of my Andy normal tangents where I'm talking
Like,
about
how many times do I use a towel
sayings
in a
from
week?
100 years ago, or how many times I use a towel in a week. That got brought up at work today.
You're not going to make us play Jeopardy all of a sudden, are you?
No,
Oh,
no,
God.
no, maybe. So you guys know when you get we had a podcast maybe
we do it
half
every
a year
week.
ago. Yep, we do. Good job, Matt. Way
All right.
to keep on.
Yay!
We did a podcast about 6 months ago about our favorite like video game controllers and stuff like that. And I was thinking about this. Do you guys ever like whenever we get like a new piece of hardware or a new controller or a new game even, and you start playing the new game, there's always that like fresh feeling no matter what. Like even if the hardware or controller or game turns out to be bad in the end, it always feels good at first no matter what. So a lot of times before making like a final opinion, I you got to let it ferment for a little while. I think the Xbox One controller has warmed up to being one of my favorites just for the way it feels
Yeah,
in my
Really?
hands. Because I was, I got to be honest, we're kind of in a euphoric period right now where I feel like all three systems have really great controllers. If you count the Switch Pro controller more than you count the Joy-Cons, because I feel like that's what most people use anyways.
Well, I think they've kind of focused on functionality. Like, what is there's only so much you can do with
Yeah.
human hands.
Yeah.
So they try to be funky and unique, like the N64 controller. And they're like, all right, that works like as like a seller, but then when people get it in their hands and then
realize
also
they
do
don't
the
have a third
spinny
hand.
thing, yeah,
Well,
it's going to rip your hand apart, and it's just not
Yeah.
going to feel comfortable.
Well, it's compared to the last generation, I feel like there was only one good controller out of all of them because I hated the PS3 controller. The Wiimotes were what they were, and then the 360 controller, which I really liked.
Well, I will admit, it is funny going back because I actually was re-hooking up some stuff to my old like retro area, and I hooked up because I had to check if my PlayStation 3 still worked. The backwards
Matt's house
compatible
is
one.
so big that he has a separate room just for retro gaming.
No, anyway, the retro area. I said area, okay? All right.
No,
anyway,
I wanted to make the listeners think you like live in a mansion.
No,
Oh,
I don't.
You said
live
my
in-
name too.
Yeah, you did.
Did I say Matt?
Yeah, you
I
said
just
Matt.
rolled with it because I was like, yeah, I do have a nice mansion. I don't have a mansion at all. I live in a tiny
I meant Dan. This is a bad start to the podcast. Anyhow, go
are
on,
you
Dan.
okay?
What were
Do
you
you know
saying?
what
Yeah.
here
Anyway, but so I quickly wanted to test the PlayStation, see if everything was working fine, and I plugged in like Dead Space, and I was playing it with the PlayStation 3 controller, and I was like, like I don't know how I feel about
Validation.
this. So it now I don't love the Xbox 360 controller either. Something about those types of triggers just wasn't for me. But
Well, see, that's
going
the
back,
exact opposite. That's the reason I love the controllers.
Oh, see, no, okay, I yes, the PlayStation 3 controller as is, like just like out of the box, is weird. The L2 and the R2 buttons are weird, but there was like a Control Freak edition that you could throw onto the
like a GameStop exclusive accessory, wasn't it? Even
those
things you added on.
No, you can buy those. They're just like like trigger extensions or whatever, and they made it so much better. They made the motion a lot easier and just 100% better.
Looking
but
back,
also,
it actually made it feel like the PS4 controller.
Yeah, and but it was also because I remember when PlayStation 3 was around, I used to love the L1 and R1 as the aim and fire, and then everything started going towards L2 and R2 because of like the FPS from the 360 was very successful, and so PlayStation started adopting that, and now all the games, like any FPS, it's L2 to aim down the sight and R2 to do that. And then I realized, I was like, oh, the L1 and the R1 are very uncomfortable in the PlayStation 3, and I'm glad I loved like the PlayStation 4 controller and the L2 and the R2 there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For like the PS4 controller, the R2 and L2 buttons, do you guys use your your pointer fingers or your middle fingers for those?
I usually just move my index fingers down.
Yeah, that's what I
normally.
do.
I think that's what most people do, right?
Wait, what is
Yeah.
this for?
Because the controllers, it's almost like it's designed where you're supposed to use your like index fingers for R1 and L1, and then your middle fingers for L2 and R2. But I've never.
I don't
done
think
that
anybody
before.
does. I don't think real people do that. I think.
Okay,
that
did I
just-
make that up?
Well, no. I think it's kind of like
It just seems like ergonomic that you would. Put your hands
No,
like that, but-
I get what you're saying, but I think it's kind of like those people where they use 1 foot for the gas and 1 foot for the brake. Like there's just too much going on there where you're gonna accidentally hit one.
Oh, yeah.
when
I
you're
tried
not
that, but
supposed to.
it's not comfortable.
1 foot on the gas.
Yeah,
One.
I
There's
tried
a
for the
reason
hell
you're
of
not supposed to
I
do
know.
it. the only people I know who do it are like really old people where they have a hard time moving their leg from like one pedal to the other. But that's why if you ever see someone on the highway or something like that where it's like their brake lights keep flickering, if they don't have an electrical problem, it's because they have 1 foot on the brake at all times and it's accidentally hitting it enough to make the brake
So if
light
you're ever
blink.
playing a racing game online and you see someone with just their brakes on the whole time,
Now you know.
you know how they hold their controller.
Yeah, the reason I brought up the Xbox One controller, though, is because it does something a little interesting that none of the other controllers do. Like, if you think of the PS4 controller, which we all have, like the finish on it almost, like the grease is very noticeable on it very quickly, where the Xbox controller is made with like this different material. It's just something
More
about
plasticky.
Yeah. It's matted plastic
Yeah.
more, I think, and it's just the way it's ridged. It just feels like clean. And again, that might still be because it's new.
Yeah, you've only had it for like a month.
But it just maybe that'll change a year from now. When I've used it for a while, when it's more seasoned, but
Have you had to change the batteries yet?
not yet.
Every 40 hours, you got to go and get batteries and
Probably gonna try to get it.
replace those batteries.
Oh no!
charge
See, I have a
thing.
rechargeable pack.
Yeah, what?
It's great.
Any brand or something? Or where'd you get it?
Energizer or whatever.
Oh.
It's just Energizer.
Oh,
or-
like you just bought like a rechargeable battery pack. You didn't buy
it
something.
was made by Xbox. It's
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it literally
What do
turns
they-
in.
Do they own Energizer?
No, oh, sorry, I take it back. The pack is from Xbox, but the charging station that you just connected to is like another third party company.
Oh, gotcha. Kind
So-
of like the thing you sold me on for my Switch Pro controller, that cradle thing,
yes,
which
so,
is
fantastic. Yes, third party accessories have come a long way from Mad Cats and their junk from
This
before.
is worth mentioning. The reason I brought up the controller at all is because I was listening to a different podcast today. It's actually a podcast that followed us on Podbean. It's Game Addicts Podcast. They have a very nice logo, very sleek looking logo.
They
I
have-
like
Yeah,
that.
it's very Sega.
Yeah, maybe the second
looks
best
like Sega.
logo
Yeah.
of podcast.
Oh,
Starting
throwing
some
some
beef.
shade.
Starting
But
some
anyways,
shade beef.
they're up to 142 episodes as well.
We got a little ways to catch up.
Yeah, episode 142 on December 31st. The guy was talking about how he got a Stadia recently, and he was kind of reviewing it, and he actually said like it's one of the best controllers he's ever held in his hands. The only thing, like looking at the Google Stadia, is there only one? Is there like multiple versions? I don't know.
No,
There's
it's just the one
different
right now.
colors.
I mean, it's
different colors. The only thing I can say, like looking at it, is that I like what the place. And this is one of my only complaints about the Xbox One controller is the D-pad. I would prefer the separate buttons almost. As opposed
I
to
can see that.
just one thing. It just seems like it's easier for precision. The other thing I hate about the Xbox One controller is there's 2 buttons, and I don't know what they do or what they're for. One of them I call lines, and the other I call 2 boxes.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they do.
the start and
Start and
buttons.
pause. Yeah.
All right, one of them lines is definitely supposed to be like start options, but I don't know what double box does. Is that the share button?
That's like the
or-
pause or like menu. It's confusing.
Both of them are pause?
I don't know.
I just consider
I
them
don't-
start and select.
I don't know how to operate the damn thing.
You
I
know,
just
not
kind
one of the
of
controllers that exists today has start and select. It's options or share for PlayStation. It's plus or minus for Nintendo, and it's whatever those symbols mean for Xbox.
Which are all dumb.
yeah, they are
I
kind
should
of.
go back to start and select.
I mean, at least I don't have a Z. That's a little weird. A, B, C, D, Z. Like, let's just go to Z. Why
There's
not?
X and Y too.
Yeah, just what the hell?
I don't know. They
Like
started
X.
at one end and they're like, let's just start from the other end and work our way back down.
I mean,
The GameCube controller gets a lot of flack for that little. Actually, funny story. This is getting way off topic from whatever our topic was supposed to be today. I remember one of the first times I'm using my GameCube controller and I had to hit Z. It took me like of course I'm like stupid ass 13-year-old at the time. It took me like an hour to figure out where the Z button is. I'm like, where is it? And it's just like this tiny little button like right above the R, and I just couldn't find it.
It's actually a nice idea, and I think maybe going forward, some other companies can use it because sliding to that is actually relatively easy.
Which is kind of what, going back to Matt's point, the PS4 controller does, where you just slide up your fingers really quick to hit that button.
But the GameCube really felt like something about how plasticky and
I love the
everything
GameCube
was kind
controller.
of bubbly.
The click when you
yes,
put
it
in
was
the-
very satisfying click.
Did you try using the 2 fingers on the PS4 controller? Like, did you attempt to do that or something?
I feel like every once in a while I'll try to do it just because like I'm too lazy to move my fingers.
Oh my
it's like,
God.
It's less, you just lay them on the buttons and then press them, but it never
Dan.
your middle finger doesn't have as much kind of like precision, so I never really.
If I ever in my
Do it.
life tell you again that you're lazy, you bring up this, and I'll be like, you know what, Dan?
Look, I'm just trying to maximize
You're not that lazy.
my gameplay.
Well, they have
abilities.
special controllers for that. The ones with the pads on the back. I got one of those scuff ones I bought used from someone, and it's neat because you can change any of the triggers in the back to whatever you want. So if there's a game like I know the first Deus Ex for Xbox 360 used to bother the crap out of me because you clicked the aim button, the L3 to aim down the sight, and it like stuck that way.
The joystick L3?
You click it in, and then
Oh, that's what Halo used to do too.
to aim down the sight.
Yeah,
No.
for the battle rifle. You hit that click under the sniper rifle. You hit in like L3 to aim down the
Oh,
sights.
I hate it.
Well, because it wasn't it was a you do it once. It wasn't like a back and forth thing. But that's why remember I told you in the Halo Master Chief Collection settings, I switched it to where the left trigger is aimed down the sights for everything because that's like the modern
Yeah, that's what it was.
way of doing things. Because Deus Ex came out a long time ago too.
Well, I mean, it was what 2000. Well, long time ago, yes, but I mean, it's still modern. Like when first-person games were starting to obviously go
Early
towards
2000s, right?
Yeah, probably then. But they had you had to click in the L3, and then you had to unclick it, and it was just
Halo was doing that for Reach. Like Halo didn't stop doing that for a while.
I just never realized that because I beat Reach and I never had a problem with the
Because
combat.
most of the guns you really don't
aim down the sight.
sights,
That's
I guess.
probably why. So this one, it's all about like accuracy and sneaking. But
So I thought of a really good advertising thing for the podcast that I think we should try out. All right, let's rent out a stage.
Okay. All right. I'm on game so far.
I'll get on stage. I'll look like a big shot.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And
Not sure how we're gonna get this giant audience. But
Don't worry about the
I don't know.
Skipping
logistics.
that.
even worse than
Skipping the
that,
important
how are we
part.
gonna like make Andy look like a big shot?
Ooh.
I just
Ouch.
eat a lot.
Dig.
Really get fatter.
All right. Go on.
Keep
with your,
going.
Pew, pew. I'm gonna make another new logo, but
Okay.
here's all I'm gonna do. The bottle. You know how there's the bottle and up at the top right, that's where the little spout is? I'm just going to switch it to the left side, but I'm going to make a big deal about it.
Oh yeah.
But everyone's going to be talking. Everyone's going to be talking about how much we failed and like, oh, that logo doesn't look much different than your last logo, but it's going to get us some hot press. Well, PS5 released their new logo, and
yes,
it looks
they did.
the same.
Good segue.
Fucking logo as any other. It wasn't a segue. I was just making a joke about it. That wasn't a segue.
Yeah. It's just CES happened.
Yeah.
Last week, and all they announced about the PS5 was the logo, which is just a PS and a
which
5.
we all knew.
Yeah.
We all knew what the name was going to be. We all knew what the logo was going to be, unless it was going to look massively different. I don't understand.
It was actually kind of fun. So somebody posted on Twitter, and it was the PlayStation 2 logo all the way up to this one, and I was actually kind of like I knew it was just going to be PS5 with white letters, same thing. Because I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I look back and the PlayStation 2 has this like almost like rainbow color like PS2 symbol, and I was like, that'd be kind of neat to go back to that.
Yeah, since the PS3, actually, originally the PS3 didn't even have that logo. Remember, originally it was the PlayStation 3 with that really long one.
Oh yeah,
then they changed it when they kind of rebranded the system.
Yeah.
Do you remember the PS2 had that sweet little like PlayStation logo that you could flip from side up and to side?
Oh, the 3D-ish one.
Depending on if you were holding
that thing moved.
Yeah, if it was vertical or horizontal, you could just tweak it.
I didn't know that.
90 degrees.
I didn't know that.
Dan, you just made it seem like you did know it.
No.
A few seconds ago. I'm confused.
Onboard Dan. I love Onboard Dan. He just goes with the flow.
No, you know what? Because I never had my systems.
No, I knew that it was that symbol, but I didn't know you could move it.
Yeah, just that
See,
tiny
that's
little.
what I meant. I knew like seeing
drive.
it on that, like it was the 3D like P and S, but I didn't know you could actually move it.
Like on your system, because I never had my system sideways, so I never really. And even if I did move my system sideways, I wouldn't assume that little dot could move. That was just the little one on the tray, right?
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, I didn't know what the hell that symbol was. It was just like to me, like it just looked like two bumps. I was like, I don't.
Also, why was the big deal with that system? It could go sideways, but then they did not provide the $2 plastic piece to actually put it sideways. Like in all the pictures, they had that like little kind of bracket around the
it's
bottom.
Marketing purposes.
Yeah, there were a lot of reports of it like damaging discs too.
Well, if you moved it a little,
against the side.
Same thing with the 360.
Yeah, it's just kind of a stupid way to.
If you want to hear like why pretty much you shouldn't put game stations like sideways, just like check up YouTube videos of like Xbox 360s and someone tapping it. It sounds like a ping pong thing.
Well, then you see them afterwards. There's that ring where the thing hit it. Anybody whoever worked at a GameStop knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one of the funniest thing too, little side thing with those rings. I used to play Modern Warfare. I think it was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and I, from being pissed off all the time, I used to kick the table that the Xbox was on it, and not knowingly it was cutting into the disc. So at one point there's 3 kill streaks in Call of Duty 4. There's the UAV, there's the airstrike, and then there's a helicopter. I must have perfectly.
What archaic times.
I know.
3 kill streaks.
So so with the helicopter coming in, I must have maybe cut the disc at some way so that the helicopter was completely silent. So I would run around thinking, oh, okay, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden just get shot by a silent helicopter because that one audio area was cut from the disc. And I was like, what the fuck? So I had to be extra careful.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I had to be very extra careful. Like, is there a helicopter in the air? Like, no. Okay.
Yeah, was there anything else to take away from the CES thing other than, like, they're making computer toilets?
They did say they sold over 5 million PlayStation VR units, which I thought was kind of a lot.
I did see that, yeah.
Considering, like, I don't know how many units they've sold, but that seems like pretty through, like 100 million.
105 million.
Almost, like, they're making a real push to beat the PS2 numbers. Like, it's number 2 best-selling console of all time right now.
Yeah.
So that's, and that's probably why the VR for it worked so
which
well.
is kind of encouraging about PS5, and like hopefully they'll keep pushing the VR, and now that it's kind of like in its second generation, I'm sure it'll be able to take a lot of kind of advancements.
Actually, this kind of pertains to that. I was reading today that the Switch sales worldwide topped 50 million. So that's pretty good. That's halfway to the Wii numbers. That's pretty damn impressive, especially coming from where they were with the Wii U with the 13 million that the Wii U sold.
Yeah, plus it's only been out for like 3 years as opposed to...
Yeah, number 1 selling game on it. What would you guys think is the number 1 selling game on the Switch? Like, units shipped.
I know you want me to say Zelda, but it must not be that because you're asking it in
it's a
that
port.
Specific tone.
It's a port?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Oh, God.
19... I cannot believe a port from the previous system is the bestseller. Number 2, Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 3, Super Mario Odyssey. Now...
Wait a minute. Where's Breath of the Wild?
Number 4.
What?
Do you know why though? This actually makes more sense if you think about it. Mario Kart, like think about all the 50 million families, the 50 million homes that have the Switch. 3 out of 4 of those games can be used by more than one person at once.
Yeah, Zelda's not for like toddlers and stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Breath of the Wild, it was like the first release, and that was
it's a little bit more of a hardcore game where the other games are kind of casual.
No, I get that.
Holy
but
crap! Pokemon Sword and Shield is already up to number 8. Splatoon 2 is at 6. Oh, that came out when
that was
really
one of those very
games.
close launch titles.
Mario Maker 2 is number 10 with 3.93 million. Oh yeah, if you look at the numbers between Breath of the Wild and the other ones, like it's not like Smash Brothers, Odyssey, and Breath of the Wild all have similar numbers: 15.7, 15.3, 14.5. It's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that has sold 19 million.
I'm shocked by that because the Wii U, I mean, yeah, it didn't sell very well, but that was one of the big sellers for the Wii U. Like that pushed
it later though, wasn't it? Didn't come out kind of.
It was later, but
I mean,
at that point,
later for a 4-year span isn't really
exactly
later.
But I figured that would hurt its numbers that people already had it. Because I also was Mario Kart 8 on the Wii as well.
I don't believe
No.
so.
No, it was just
that was just a Wii U.
Because then they
And
did
that's why
Plus.
they recorded it because like
no
no one bought the
Okay.
Wii U. So
Yeah.
we saw the games
Okay.
on the
Everybody
Switch.
had
So,
already.
because I understand Mario Odyssey, obviously, and then what was the third one? The one that beat it? It's Super Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers is going to get everyone involved because it has every type of character from every freaking game. Probably one of the most impressive like collaborations between companies I've seen in many, many years. So, and still going too, apparently, with all these other characters that they're adding. Then they add like the Persona character.
They're trying to make that last the entirety of the life of the
Which
Switch.
I think it will. I mean, people are still going back and playing the other Super Smash Brothers games.
They mentioned VR sales. Did they mention anything else about the VR and PS5? Anything at all?
No, not that I'm aware of. I only kind of watched a few minutes of it, and I don't think there was much else on.
We haven't really gotten like a proper press conference for either console at this point. It's really weird how this is going so far.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of expected. I would expect to hear something either in February or March. If we don't hear by then, I would imagine they're just going to wait till E3, but I don't think they're going to wait till E3 because they got to get people excited about like starting to pre-order, and I'm sure production's got to start up in a couple months for all these millions of systems they have to make.
Maybe because they still have some launches this year for PS4. The funny thing is Xbox like friggin' all steam ahead. Like, let's just go because we have nothing for this system like anymore. So they're just like, how quickly can we hurry up and get to this next system? And Sony's like, we still have a bunch of, great games coming out for the PlayStation 4 to the point where they were like, maybe we should put some of them toward. Well, same thing with Last of Us 2. It's like, I wonder if they pushed that back because they wanted to make it a launch title or at least a bridge title where Assassin's Creed like Black Flag, where it was, you can get it on PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4. So I'm wondering if they'll do that. But they still have, like I said, they still have a few big games coming out this year, exclusive.
I'm sorry. I've been trying to look up for the past 5 minutes. I want to... Oh, here it is.
Hey, you found it.
Yeah, I want to know how good Link's Awakening sold. I was really curious. The only sales numbers I have are September 30th. It's currently one of the best-selling Switch. It's close to number 10 already because Mario Maker 2 only sold about 3-point-something million. It sold 3.13 million as of September 30th, and it came out in September. So that's a lot of units in 1 month, I guess.
Yep. I mean, it also helped that it was right towards the holiday season.
That's also true.
I mean, you throw Zelda on anything, it's
also
going to sell.
The Dreamer Edition they released and everything like that. I'm sure that probably helped a bit. So what have you guys been playing?
Just been playing some video games.
That's good.
I finished up World of Final Fantasy, and by finished up, I mean I'm stopped playing it.
Oh, did you start not liking it, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was really charming and fun. I talked about it last week, but I guess I found out there's 20 chapters. I was literally on chapter 19. It gets to a point near the end where it's just like
definitely not going to be the completionist.
Yeah.
What is it with Square Onyx games where you get to the last thing and like, nope, screw
I'm not
it.
doing this anymore. Well, I mean, there's some very like repetitive dungeons. Like there's one point where you're going, and it seems to get worse near the end. There's one point where you're just like literally on a bridge and you're just going across the bridge, and it's like an hour, 90-minute dungeon, and it's just literally going straight. It's not even like a windy bridge. There's not much for obstacles or anything. You're just literally pressing up. And I got to a point where I'm like basically the same thing as a giant glass tower where you have to go up it, and I went like all the way to the top, and then sometimes there's kind of like roadblocks where you need to have like special, those little characters that I was talking about. You collect kind of like in Pokemon from the monsters that you're fighting. You have to have specific ones with you, so you have no idea which ones you need. So you get there, you can only carry 12 of them with you at a time. And if you don't have the one you need, I had to go all the way back down, go get it out of my like case of Pokemon monsters or whatever you want to call it, and then I go back up. And so I did that, and then I got to the top of the tower, and there was like 4 symbols that I had to kind of figure out what they were about. And there's 2 areas that you can go to, and they warp you to like new towers where you have to go all the way up and down. So I started going up it for a while, and then like a lot of it was kind of going, you'll go up a little bit and then down a little bit and then up a little bit, because there's a lot of like warps from point to point to point. So then I lost track of where I was, and then I like thought I was somewhere else, and then I kept going, and then I ended up back where I started. So it was like, okay, that
sounds exhausting.
Yeah, so it was like an hour of just like going through these blank rooms that all look identical. So at that point I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do that again, and then I'm gonna have to do the other wing of this castle tower, whatever it is, and then who knows what's gonna be next. So I just completely lost the will to keep going.
Is this also while like you're getting random encounters?
Yeah, it's all random encounters.
That's one of the things that turned me away from a lot of turn-based games was random encounters.
They have like an escape option, but like it has to load into the battle.
Yeah, you got to load into the battle.
And then like even in that case, I stopped using it because at least 3 out of 4 times it would just say failed to escape. So it's like,
and then you get hit.
It's just like kind of this slog of a nightmare at the end.
Did they have anything like in Pokemon where you could use like a repel or something? Just you wouldn't get any.
No, they have the opposite of that, where you can make them more prevalent. But I mean, I would guess there probably is somewhere in the game. I never found it or got it, because I mean, I'm surprised they would have the attract the lure one, but not like a repel. So maybe I just missed that. So I stopped playing that, and I started playing the Lost Odyssey Xbox 360 kind of lost gem that Dan let me borrow. I'm only like a couple hours into it, but it seems pretty interesting. It reminds me very much of kind of like that Final Fantasy 12 vibe, where it's kind of this like old, fantasy vibe, but like, with, I don't know, it just seems like castles and things like that, like just kind of that like regal
kind of Sword and Shield era.
Yeah, I'm trying to say how to
Lord
describe that without
style.
sounding like an idiot. Yeah, something like that. So you're this guy who's like immortal, and you forgot your memory, and you're going through this war, and everyone knows that you're immortal, and you're kind of slowly getting your memories back, and then so you're kind of learning about your history, and then you're kind of learning that maybe people want to harm you for some reason. So I'm still early on, so it's still a lot of like I don't know what's happening. Another thing to note about it is it's actually pretty difficult. So it's turn-based, plays like an old Final Fantasy or an old JRPG, but like even the first boss was pretty hard. Like I'd use like all my potions on me to beat him, and I think I died twice before I could even beat him.
I'm surprised it's turn-based. I would have thought it was like a more of a Skyrim type affair.
No,
I just assumed
it's like random battles.
Yeah, this is the same guy that made Final Fantasy X. And he ended up cutting from Square Enix, and he made this game as like basically
What do you mean made FF10? You mean like he was the director?
Yeah,
or
he was one of the head people for Final Fantasy X.
Did he handle any of the other ones too, or?
I think him and Square Enix, I guess, had a falling out, and this was his like response to Square Enix, like, hey, I can, make a really good kind of basically what Kojima did with, hey, I can make a game on my own, to Konami. But so I guess a lot of people said like if you like Final Fantasy X, you might like this type of game.
Yeah, it has a really interesting way that it deals how it deals with magic and kind of spells and effects in the game. So right now I only have 3 characters. 2 of them are mortal, and then the other guy's just like a normal kind of mage kind of character. And that mage character kind of, as he levels up, he learns spells. He actually doesn't learn spells. He learns like levels. So he'll learn level 1 white magic spells, but then you have to find in the game, like you have to find cure poison and cure 1 and all those sort of things, like in revive. So you unlock like a kind of like a step of different spells, and then you have to find them. So
that's kind of neat and realistic, though. Like
it's kind of interesting.
The guy's just like, oh, I just learned how to do thunder out of nowhere. Like it's not.
Yeah, it's
realistic.
It's almost like you're getting proficient at magic. And then so he learns spells, but then the 2 immortal characters I have, what they do is you don't actually learn any spells from leveling up, but you can link to the mage. So you link one of the spells that the mage has. Like you can link level 1 black magic to your main character, and then after a certain amount of battles, he'll become proficient in that, and then he'll learn it, and then you can link yourself to another spell that this guy owns. So I imagine I don't even know if there's more than 3 characters in the game, but if there's a bunch of them, you'll kind of want to be trying to get your immortal characters to learn all these spells from the characters that aren't immortal, which seems kind of like an interesting kind of ebb and flow. Kind of have to decide what you want to do, who you want to have in your party, and see if like you can get everyone to, like right now everyone in my party has the first cure spell because it seems pretty important, but obviously the mages is like twice as powerful. So it's interesting so far, but I'll have more to say about it once I kind of crack more in a few hours, I guess.
Question.
Sure.
You said 2 of the characters are immortal.
Yes.
How did you die?
I'm just that good.
What happens? What, does he just get knocked out or something?
I don't remember. I think it just says like game over, and then you just like it's like it has like a checkpoint system, so you don't have to go back to a save. You just kind of go back to like a few feet before your last fight. But yeah, that was another thing I noticed. Like actually, at the start of the game, it's kind of one of those games where you start into this big kind of to do. There's like a war going on, and you fight a couple of normal guys, which are really easy, and then you immediately fight this like big tank thing, and it almost killed me there. And then, you go on and fight some more guys, and then you fight like a bird is the kind of the first boss, and he like destroyed me. It was kind of strange because I didn't even feel like I had a lot of time to level up before then. So it seems like it might be a game where I'm going to have to do some leveling somewhere just to kind of keep up with the difficulty curve. But
That just reminded me of
it's fun so far.
I mean, every game reminds me of Final Fantasy VII, but in Final Fantasy VII, it actually made sense because they were harnessing the power of the earth, which accidentally created materia, that you would have to actually find the materia. You couldn't just like automatically learn it. You would either buy it or find it.
They couldn't do the ability without it?
No.
It was all the materia.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Actually, and you basically equipped them to you either on your equipment or your weapons or something like that. That's what, like, if you ever look at the Buster Sword, has those 2 holes in it. Those are materia slots.
Well, in the game, in Final Fantasy VII, the original, could you see the materia in the sword? Or was it just
I'm sure in the new one.
That's what I'm excited, because some of even the stupid little like pink and yellow like materia dots, something about it was just really neat.
I didn't even learn that until I was in junior high school and I was cosplaying. Well, wasn't cosplaying at that point. I was just going for Cloud for Halloween. My dad, out of wood, made me this big giant Buster Sword, and I was looking.
It's pretty freaking spot on.
Yeah, I was looking up pictures on what it would look like, and I noticed one of the pictures had like green coming out of the holes. I'm like, that's weird. And then I actually looked up and I'm like, oh, that's where the materia goes. That makes sense. Why there's those 2
true
little holes there. Anything else you've been playing, Matt?
No, that's it for now.
Yeah, I might want to play Lost Odyssey after you. I'll add it to the 80 other 1,000 games.
Yeah, I've got kind of a backlog. I'm trying to just play games that I have until or not buy any new games until Final Fantasy Remade comes out to kind of catch up on some stuff. We'll see if that actually.
Is there anything coming out between now and there that's notable?
Neo 2.
Dragon Ball
and Kakarot.
Oh yeah, you can get $10 off Dragon Ball Z Kakarot if you order through Amazon. I found out today.
Yeah, I'm not really a big Dragon Ball guy, so I probably will miss that.
Probably gonna hold off. That's gonna be one of those things where I'll wait and see. Kind of. I mean, I've already seen gameplay of how it kind of plays.
I'm a little confused at how it plays.
Yeah, me too. That's another thing. I didn't really get a good sense of it.
It looks like one of those, like, I was excited when it was open world, but then I just realized it was just a lot of flying to different spots, and then...
Yeah, is the world going to feel really empty after 10 minutes of doing that?
I don't... Like, can you fight random things? And because they're spanning, like, a whole lot of time.
Yeah, it's very ambitious.
The entire series is being crammed into this game.
Yeah, so, like, that's... Are they going to have enough time to... And it kind of got me excited seeing that you can fight Frieza, and I was like, that was my, like... That was when I was in high school, like that. When I liked it, that was fun, and that's right when I gave up. Was like after Frieza and stuff like that. So I knew about the androids and Piccolo and all that stuff. I don't know anything else, but
you can kind of just stop after Cell.
Yeah, Boo was kind of. Yeah, I'm sorry. When I was like, oh, what are the names of those characters? Bibbidi. Okay, what's the next one? Bobbidi. Are you freaking Boo? Fucking. All right, I'm done. And then I'm sorry. Last episode that pissed me off. He turned him into chocolate and ate him. I was like, nope, done. This is stupid.
Also all the characters are named after vegetables, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Goku, Vegeta. Well, no,
Vegeta is
Vegeta,
like vegetable in Japan or something
Bulma.
like that. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to fly around the world though, because in the show, there are all these spots on Earth or on like I'm pretty excited to think about going to Namek and actually being able to fly around, because you always saw the characters flying around the world and doing all this shit with it. So it's gonna be kind of cool to actually like do that.
Well, no, it'd be neat, but I'm just worried that the world is empty and it's basically like a Mortal Kombat, except you just go to different fights.
See, I don't really mind.
That's what I'm worried about. Like, I want it to be, you can fly and you see a person down there that needs help, so you can fly down.
I'm sure there's going to be like side quests and all that stuff over like on the ground and things like that. It's not just going to be flying and fighting.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
it's an RPG.
With them trying to span like the whole series, in that much.
There's a lot of leaked gameplay footage on YouTube, so.
Yeah, I saw some game, but that's the thing. I need to see. Like, it looks like Final Fantasy Dissidia, like style of fighting, where everyone's just like floating and it looks chaotic. It looks like something I would need to see it like in a review style, like how it plays, or try it and for myself, because I am remotely interested in purchasing it later. I'm not going to get it now because, like I said, I don't.
It's not something I want to drop even $50 on at this point, and it's not a slight on them. It's like, even if it was an amazing game, I wouldn't be doing that right now, because kind of like Matt said, I'm in like a kind of catch up mode. I'm not even doing that very well.
Oh,
because
you're not.
I've been spending I guess I'll go next. I've been spending all of my free time trying to work on the production quality of our podcast. I've been working a lot on the YouTube channel still. I'm still working on that 3D intro I was talking about last week.
He's done a great job, and people are noticing and commenting.
I finally just figured out, I took 3D modeling classes back in like 2013, so it's taking me a while to kind of get back into that program and like really like find my way around. But I'm finally at the point where I think like, all right, I got this. I know what I need to do. I'll just make it happen. One of the slights I had when I was in 3D modeling was I was always overambitious with my projects, and I had a limited time span. So I do kind of have to not make it last like 2 months or anything like that. I still am playing Super Hot on some of I haven't had a ton of free time to play, but I'm still enjoying that game. I don't have anything new to say about it. Just it's really great, and I think everybody should play it. It's just one of those games everybody should play.
Do you think it would be even better in VR?
I would imagine it would be.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say because I'm not really as big into VR, nor do I have a VR headset. I know it's just it's really fun on the console. I don't know if it would be more or less. I think either way you want to play it, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. No, it looks.
So anybody
really
listening,
good.
I'm not saying please go get a VR headset just for this game. If anything, just get it for Astrobots. But
Yes.
it is still like, if you have a VR headset, I would get it for VR just to see. But I it's a hard question for me to answer.
Yeah, I just thought if it would be enhanced by it.
I imagine it would be, because basically time only moves when you move. So you can look around. When you're just looking around, time is moving like extremely, extremely, extremely slow. So I imagine it would be
when you spin, but when you actually move, like when you move forward,
like when you're moving the camera, time is just moving like at a snail's pace. But when you're actually walking your character, that's when time moves, or when you're taking any action or anything like that. But I do imagine it would be very immersive in VR. Like I imagine like having like three guys coming at you from different directions and being actually able to look over your shoulder to see the other guy and be like, it's kind of like Matrix almost. It's like if Hackers was the Matrix, like it's like that 90s hacker vibe.
Nice.
But time's moving like the Matrix.
Oh, I just remember the advertisement for it was really neat.
Yeah.
And it was just like super hot.
Yeah, it's
it would just repeat it and then it would get faster.
And it's one of those games where it's kind of like the Five Guys of games. It's not like they're trying to make like a graphical masterpiece or anything, but that's fine because they know what they want to do with this game and they're doing it very well.
Yeah.
When did this game come out? This must have been like 2016, 2015?
Yeah, it's probably 2016, 2017.
It's actually probably one of might have even came out before PSVR came out.
Yes,
No?
it did.
I don't
Matt
know.
shook his head.
No, I don't know.
Matt's disagreeing with you.
No, it was an I don't know what I'm talking about. Shrug.
Oh, I'm pretty
That's all of my shrugs.
sure that because I don't think it was meant for PSVR. It was meant for something else.
I'm playing it on Xbox. It's probably made for Oculus originally.
Probably, but
Did Samsung VR go anywhere? Did they still use that? Remember when you could like hook up your phone to the VR headset? Did that just die really quickly?
I see them a lot in like clearance bins.
Okay, there
Probably
you go.
not.
That answers my question. Dan, what are you playing?
So I'm still. Well, I got into another Tetris 99 craze that I've been getting
Is that
back
because
into.
your wife's been playing it?
Yeah, a little bit, but well, I also just kind of learned how to play it also because I never.
Tetris? You learned how to play Tetris over the
Hang
last couple weeks?
on.
Didn't you and I play Tetris 99 already
Yeah,
with
we
each other?
did, but we weren't sure how to like attack and doing all that. And
You explained it to me. You knew.
I did, but I wasn't fully grasping when to use each ability.
So you're saying you just found out a better strategy.
I realized what works, what actually worked, because I wasn't getting anywhere in like I was barely cracking the 50s.
Yeah.
You know when the sorry.
Matt, have you played Tetris 99?
No, I've watched videos on it though. I know.
Oh, okay,
I know
so-
there's like kind of unique qualities to like how you can attack
Yeah.
people.
So what Dan's referring to is you can actually. Well, Dan, you've been playing it. You explain it because I actually forget. But it's
Yes.
like attacking and defending and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's because there's 99 people. Obviously, you don't want to pick individual ones. It'll take you a lot of time to look. So you can go after different types of players and how they're doing. You can go for the KO, which means that someone is almost dead, like they're up at the top. And if you knock somebody out, you get a bonus.
Cutthroat.
Yeah, you get a bonus that when you complete lines, you send a certain percentage more their way. So at one point, you can get up to 100% more. So if they're getting 4 lines, they're getting 8. You know, when you send it. At one point, I hit 75%, which I've been doing quite often. Every game, I'm getting to like 50% usually of knockouts. Nice. But it's that end of the game that is so hard. People are just constantly just, building, getting rid of it, building, getting rid, and then you're just getting like 8 layers, after another. And if you make one little mistake, I'm trying to build, straight up and then use that long piece and just, get, is it called a Tetris when you get 5 lines?
Yes.
Yes. So get a Tetris. That's like the only thing basically you're meant to do in this game is get the Tetris and move people or move items to other people.
Do you know what the individual
4 lines,
blocks
right?
are called?
No.
Tetraminos. I learned that because my friend sucks.
Mel, I just learned what a T-spin was for the first time.
We played 20 questions in like 2005, back when Tetris DS was big and is still like the best Tetris I've ever played. And we were playing 20 questions, and I knew it was Tetris after like the 4th question, but I couldn't figure out what the name was. And finally, I got to the end, I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And she's like, "Tetraminos." I'm like, "What the fuck is a tetramino? Is that even a word? It's the individual blocks." No, who knows that? No one knows. Well, now I know it, but now all of you know it. Congratulations, Lee, if you're listening, which I know you are. You suck.
All right.
That's not true. I love you.
But so yeah, you can go after KO, which is someone that's almost dead. You can go after random, which is like the safest. That means that less people are going to go after you. So like if you're content, like, you know what, I'm struggling right now, let me put it on random so that I'm not going to get attacked as much. And then there's badges, so that's going for other people that have those percentages, but that's risky because they have those badges for a reason, because they're probably good and they knock people out. So if you pick on them, they're going to send more your way.
And is that the defender? Like you're attacking the people who are
there's like a
attacking
revenge
you?
option too, right?
Yeah, and then there's attackers. So if regular people are attacking you, you can send it back to them to slow them down from attacking you. So there's 4, and you have to switch it manually.
So which one do you use? The KO?
So, well, it depends on how I'm doing. If I'm about to get a Tetris and maybe, I'll quickly swap between KO and badges. If I notice badges, like the guys like way at the top trying to do that, I'll slam him with like 2 Tetrises to see if I can steal all his... Because when you beat somebody with badges, you take all theirs. So, including a knockout for you. So you get...
Sounds like a bad pet name. Like if I named
Badges?
my cat Badges. Give me your badges. I don't know. Just sounds like a pet name.
I can
Have
see
you
that.
won any matches yet?
Second place. It's the highest.
Brutal.
That's just
I
the
played,
first
and
loser.
I just found
Or the
this.
last loser.
I just found the stats of the all the games I've played. I think I've played 164 games.
Oh my god.
And I have not won.
You've been playing a lot.
Yeah. I've been, like I said,
You've been your primary focus all week?
no, well, between that and Slay the Spire. Both of them have just been really addicting, except I suck at Slay the Spire, and I suck at Tetris, apparently.
Well, I imagine Tetris would be hard at this point because like all the people that were just kind of casual at the beginning trying it out have fallen off. So all the people now are hardcore, and you're just kind of jumping in after the fact.
Not to mention the people in Japan are always hardcore.
Yeah, which is like why I hate
they're
jumping into multiplayer games late.
crazy good. But I mean, I'm doing a lot better than what I was. I used to get in like the 50s. That was it. Now I'm getting into like the 20s and top 10 almost every other game. So it's like, oh, I have a chance.
I wouldn't say you suck if you're getting up in the upper echelon. You suck if you're losing the first time every time.
Well, yeah. All right. Well, I'm not.
Dan,
I can't win.
Dan,
I know.
you don't suck.
Thank you.
You're a good
But I do
person.
suck at Slay the Spire. because-
Why? What's so? Hang on, one more Tetris thought before you move on to Slay the Spire.
Yeah.
In the early days of the DS, you could connect to Wi-Fi and play with people on the internet, which I thought was like groundbreaking in like 2005, 2006, whenever the DS came out. Every time I would play Tetris online, would play online against I think 2 or 3 other people. Anytime I saw any kanji with Japanese symbols, I knew I was going to lose. They were way too good. It actually worked pretty well. There wasn't really any lag or anything like that, which was surprising. I mean, you had to play through Wi-Fi. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's Wi-Fi. But yeah, anytime I saw the kanji, I knew like I'm dead. There's no way. And I would consider myself really good at Tetris, but it just sucks. So Slay the Spire, why do you suck at that? It's a hard game?
Yeah, it's very unforgiving. It's like I said, it's a deck building game mixed with turn-based combat.
Right.
And every time you basically move one space at a time, and there's 3 or 4 different symbols. One is like a mini monster. One is a big monster, which is like a much more difficult one to fight. Then there's like a question mark, and that's very Dungeons and Dragons inspired. Like they'll give you a story, like you're walking down an alleyway, and this goblin comes out, and he's shrieking something. What do you do?
Ew, he's streaking?
Shrieking
In
something.
an alleyway. That's a federal offense.
Anyway. So it's the question of, do you attack them or do you run? And then they'll give you, like, one of them will be if you run, you take, like, 5 damage. If you hit them, you have to fight them, but you get an item. So it's kind of like, depending on how you're doing in the dungeon, it's like, oh, I have no health. I don't want to fight. It's not worth it. And then there's a treasure chest, which you're guaranteed to get, like, a really good item. So then, on top of that, every time you win, you get guaranteed a card. And there's different rarities and stuff like that and different things that you can do. Some of them give you armor. Some of them give you health, whatever,
just
damage.
Just a card? A single? You don't get like
yeah.
Some of them, like Yu-Gi-Oh! You get the booster packs at the end.
Well, you pick from one of 4.
Oh.
So you pick. So if you're, heavily on discarding and drawing, you go look for those cards. But you can also, like, if you end up like, I have to take this card, you can discard them later. But on top of that, you find after you kill certain enemies, like the more difficult ones, you get a relic. Relics are permanent status updates to your character. So one of them could be every 5 turns. On your 5th turn, you'll do double the damage.
Are you talking about Yu-Gi-Oh?
No.
Is this Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, he said, I thought of like the Millennium Puzzles. It's like the Relic, and they had like the Millennium Eye, the Millennium Rod, and all that other stuff.
Oh, they're random things. Like one of them's like a skeleton head, another one is like a banana. Like they're just random pictures of things.
Okay, that's weird.
It's basically the more relics you have, the more
I feel bad for the guy who has the legendary relic of a banana.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying they're really goofy pictures just at the top left. They're not to be taken seriously. And they give you permanent status boosts. But some of them can be beneficial and hinder you. One of them you could be like, oh, you deal double the damage, but you also take double the damage. And it's like a curse thing. Then there's other ones like, oh, there's this really, really good card that you can take, but when you use it, you get 2 useless cards that you can't use. They replace cards in your hand. So you risk drawing them and not getting a good card. So it's like I said, it's really addicting because it's quick. Each fight is probably like 2 minutes. Against the AI opponents, you just kind of go through the dungeon, and usually the boss is like really difficult. You have to kind of learn his abilities. One of them is like
sorry, I'm looking at screenshots right now. I like how the hand is kind of fanned out, like you're actually holding.
Yeah, and you can
cards.
also you can play it one of 2 ways. You can actually like control like I want to select this card, or you can actually like a phone, pull out the card and use it on the enemy.
Looks very Yu-Gi-Oh, and I mean that in a good way.
Is there like a final boss, like an end to this game?
I don't know if there's like a final boss per se.
I want to play this.
Does it roll credits at some point?
I don't know. I haven't gotten. So there's levels or like stairs. So in the dungeon, and the farthest I've gotten is the third stair. I can't get.
So is it like a roguelike where you're starting over every time, or
Yeah. So you lose everything.
You lose everything.
You unlock more cards to potentially earn in your playthrough, but you lose everything.
Whoa, I'm sorry. Backtrack. When you lose everything. Like when you lose the first time, when you lose once.
Yeah.
You lose one card game, and you lose everything you've done.
Well,
your whole life.
Yeah. You start out like your character has health. So like if you have like one bad match, like your first match, you try and defend too much, and he ends up using a power move, and you only have like 2 health left. That 2 health goes to the next fight, and you have to survive that. So it keeps going. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh.
How long is the game? How long can you survive like that?
That's the where you balance and I forgot about this one other icon that you can either rest or you can upgrade. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about the
About
other.
to say there's got to be something.
So then there's something. Well, it's a risk reward. One of them is you can rest for 25% of your health back, or you can upgrade a card.
I really want to play this
This
game.
sounds so stressful.
So it is.
We both had the opposite opinions.
I would just be sitting there looking at the screen, like unable, like frozen and like unable to make decisions.
Well, that's why. And the worst thing too is it's a campfire. The campfire is always right before the big boss too. So
Dead Souls.
yeah. So it's at the very end. It's like I have 60 health out of 80. Like that's not bad, but the boss, is pretty strong or whatever. Do I upgrade a card that I have that's really good, or do I rest and get most of my health back? So, and I've gotten to the boss, like I've risked it and upgraded something, and it's helped me tremendously. And then
See, I feel like I would always be the cautious one to always heal.
it also depends. There's cards in your deck that can heal, but they're very, very rare.
The upgrading seems like it would help you more long term, and the healing would help you short term. So like you don't want to heal too much. I would feel obligated to do the long term option of upgrading your weapons and hopefully not dying.
Yeah, and it's also risky too because at the beginning of the game, obviously the first one you fight one guy, typical RPG, 1-on-1. So but you can also see
Glass Joe.
Yeah, but you can also see what's kind of neat. You can see what they're going to do. So they'll tell you how much damage they're going to do against you. So you're like, oh, crap. I have to use my defenses to at least block that. And then it gets more in-depth, like they could do 5 times 2. Like, so they're going to hit you twice for 5 damage. I don't need to go, like, nuts into it, but I would easily recommend it if you like any kind of card game at all. It's extremely addictive. Did you like Gwent in Witcher, Matt?
No, I thought it was stupid. Waste of time.
Okay.
But you liked Blitzball.
No.
Well, you didn't like Blitzball? Well, that was all math. You'd love Blitzball. It's all math. That's all
I
it
do
is.
love math.
You go like 2 feet and you lose 5 shooting power, and then you shoot and you. Oh god,
That sounds
doesn't
stupid.
go in.
It's believe you'll like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really good. It's
I said
really,
it last
really good.
week, and I'm gonna say it again this week. I really need to stay away from this game. Because I love deck building games. I love things like that.
It's at least fun to try like a dungeon run.
In Dark Souls, when you sat around the campfire, did that heal you in Dark Souls, or does that just to save the game?
No, it's both.
Both, okay.
And same thing in Star Wars.
I think I said Dead Souls,
but it
earlier. I
also
meant Dark Souls.
it also resets all the enemies around you.
Ooh.
So it's a risk reward thing. It's like
Kind of the same thing.
Well, yeah, Star Wars exactly pretty much took the formula for Dark Souls and
Star
used
Wars?
it. So, Fallen Order?
Oh.
It uses the same exact...
You just threw me for a loop.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
wait,
and
huh?
like when you get killed, like the last enemy that killed you, you have to hit him. The same thing with, Dark Souls, where you had to go back to where you died and you had to get your souls. This one is just, you just have to hit the guy. Anyway, so I'm jumping between those. It's like an addictive, like, Clash of Clans, like a really easy game that you can just quick, play for 10 minutes and then, you're done.
You've been jumping kind of between 2 pretty similar games, yet so far apart.
Yep. Well, then Call of Duty, been hopping into that every now and then. And then
I haven't even really done that. We played a few matches in the past week, and that's about it.
yeah, no, I like the hardcore change that we did, where it's the no heads up display. I feel like there's less camping in this version than the other one, the regular mode, with people being able to see where you are. So I like that kind of spontaneous.
I feel like there's just as much stuff, just in different ways.
Well, I don't know. I'm enjoying the slow
People
pace.
are using rockets way too much because they kill you in one hit.
Well, yeah, they just have to shoot around you, but that's why I only use it if I know. But and then the other game I just bought, it was completely out of curiosity and why it got an update, and it was also 40% off, was Contra Rogue Core, the one for the Switch that did so poorly.
You mean the one that we said
heard
was like
awful
one of the
things about
5
that.
worst games that came out last year the other day?
Yeah, so they I guess a lot of people were having problems because the guns overheat in the game because they don't want you to spam the gun.
Which is the complete opposite of what Contra is.
Exactly. It was always about spamming the spread friggin' and blowing everything up. And so they increased that. So now it's pretty ridiculous. Like you have to press it really, really fast to fill it. But it's just kind of I'm a sucker for those top down like twin stick shooter games. So for $25 for a little bit of like Contra nostalgia, it's stupid fun. It's not.
I think I would only take a twin stick shooter for free. I don't like twin stick shooters. I never did.
Oh, I love them. Ikaruga on GameCube was amazing.
Which one?
Ikaruga, did you ever play that?
No.
Where it's like kind of like a Japanese style, and you gotta switch the color of your ship back and forth to avoid certain colored orbs.
Oh,
So,
that's
like,
actually
half
that
of them
sounds
do
really
damage
cool.
to one form and half do the damage to the other form.
I've definitely heard of that.
I think it came out like it got re-released on PS4 recently, actually.
Ooh, I might have to try. I'm just a sucker for those. They're fun and
Just like that bullet hell.
Yeah, I just completely forgot that there was a Tomb Raider game, Temple of Osiris. They never made a physical copy in the U.S., but they made one in Europe, so I ended up just purchasing one from Europe. So, but it's a top-down twin-stick shooter for Tomb Raider. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. And it's a platformer, and you jump and all that. Jump.
Yeah, it's like it's not like a twin stick shooter. It's just a twin stick like
No, it's
action game, isn't it?
well, yeah, but I mean, it's essentially it's like platforming.
Yeah,
and
when I hear someone say twin stick shooter, I think of like either in a car or a ship.
Yeah, Halo and Call of Duty are not twin stick shooters.
No, Oh, see, I've always known twin stick shooters to be the one where you're like a character and you're running around from like almost like bird's eye view, but at like an angle, and then
One of your joysticks should be shooting. That's the direction your gun is shooting, and the other is moving the character around.
It's more north, south, east, west type of thing.
Well, like Rogue Corps, like if one joystick is actually making, one joystick is just aiming, the other is moving, but wherever you're aiming, that's where your gun is shooting. I guess I'm not explaining it very well.
It's directional,
picturing
like
in my
north,
head.
south, instead of an actual pinpoint part on like a vertical like plane.
No, it's bird's eye view for Tomb Raider, but is it a twin stick shooter though?
Yeah, like the right stick aims in a direction, like a full circle,
Okay.
and then you shoot in that general direction.
Okay. Yeah, that's a twin stick shooter then.
Yeah. So, So I
What did you have a different interpretation
No, I
of
mean,
that, Matt?
I think I remember. I think I played that game when it came out, and it just like I maybe because it was Tomb Raider, I just didn't think of it as a twin stick shooter. I just thought of it as like a Tomb Raider with a kind of Diablo kind of style.
There
yeah.
was one
So
twist.
essentially, it's Diablo, except think of it like, because Diablo really wasn't twin stick. It was just kind of like
It was for my character because my character was basically a walking Gatling gun for arrows.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then that is like a twin.
That,
stick shooter.
however, was great. I enjoyed every minute of being a human Gatling gun of arrows. That was just fun. There was one twin stick shooter I played. I think at
It's hard to say over and over.
Boston Fig, the Boston Festival of Indie Games. I played one there one time, but it was a side view twin stick shooter, and I just despised it. Which I feel bad because I'm sure it was like in its alpha or beta stage, but they like wanted to know like, oh, did you like it? I'm like, not really. I told him like, it's just a little wonky with it being a side view twin stick. It just doesn't really didn't really handle.
Wouldn't that just be a 2D platformer?
Yeah, but you're still like
Shovel Knight?
aiming in the 360 view, like kind of.
Oh,
an
like
arc.
Samus. Like
Yeah.
like you aim in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just not done as well.
Oh,
Just
that's
worse.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
The one for 3DS.
Like I said, it was only like an alpha or beta stage. It's not like it was
Oh.
like the full-fledged game or anything like that. But I'm like, oh yeah, you just need to like tighten up the controls here and there.
Oh yeah, no. Samus Returns did a great job of like 2D but like 3D feel. Where now there's buttons that made her like angle perfectly while you're running. like because usually in the Nintendo game you have to stop, aim, like.
Oh yeah,
So that
absolutely.
drove me nuts.
Yeah.
And this one obviously just plays a lot better.
Now,
But
I've asked this before. Samus Returns is Metroid 2 for the NES, right? That's the remake?
I think so.
It's not Super Metroid.
yes, correct.
Okay. Which I didn't know there was a Metroid 2 until this game came out. I always thought when people said Metroid 2, they were referring to Super Metroid. I didn't know there was a Metroid 1, a Metroid 2, and a Super Metroid. I thought Metroid 2 and Super Metroid were the same thing. Did I just blow your mind?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know what I never have gotten probably more than 2 hours into any of the games, and I want to. Yes, I know you're still. My head's exploding. But on that
Have you ever
note,
played through the Metroid Prime series?
no,
Oh, that's the best.
I couldn't.
Metroid.
I couldn't do the one stick thing. That's why I'm waiting.
It's hard now. It was great back then.
Exactly, trying to go back. But also, I just read somewhere.
Switch, please re-release them.
Well, apparently, with this Nintendo Direct, there's a lot of talk about how tomorrow might be an announcement of some games like the Metroid trilogy.
See, I need to learn
what do you-
from you.
what
That
do
was
you-
a good segue.
What are you
Why
talking
can't I
about?
do that?
I don't understand. There's
What
no
did I do?
Nintendo Direct tomorrow, though. It's a Pokemon Direct.
Well,
Oh, is
like
that what they said? It's specifically
Yeah.
a Pokemon
Yeah, but
Direct? What the hell do they have to talk about Pokemon for?
That's
The
why
game
I
just
don't.
came out.
That's why I think it's a tease, and I think they're going to do because I've looked.
January Fools,
I
everybody.
don't think they're going to tease and upset all the Pokemon fans.
No, but they're gonna have two.
I don't
They're
think
gonna
they
have
could
Pokemon, but I think they're gonna also mention other things
I
coming.
think they can make things worse. Pokemon fans already are kind of like pissed off right now, aren't they?
Not really. Apparently, the game's number 8, friggin' on the Switch list.
Well, yeah,
they
they
can't
were
be that mad. They're like, I hate this game. I'm buying it anyway.
I know the national Dex thing really hurt them.
national
actually,
what?
my girlfriend's roommate is actually he decided when he bought Sword and Shield to literally play through every Pokemon game in order. I'm like, wow, that's dedication, man. That's a lot of
That's a lot of Pokemon.
That's a lot of hours.
That's a lot of the same game over and
yes.
over
I wouldn't be able to do
with
that.
absolutely no innovation at all.
So Dan, you're looking up information right now. Does it say it's pretty much just a Pokemon Direct, or
No, I
I didn't. You guys just told me about it this morning. I had no idea there was.
There
gonna
was
be
a bunch
anything
of
tomorrow.
people on.
I've only seen Pokemon
that were
pictures.
talking about it, and they were saying that they were potentially going to announce at the end of it.
Oh, like kind of like how they like do that like last tiny bit at the end for kind of like a surprise, like they
Yes.
did with Breath of the Wild 2.
Yes, and Breath of the Wild 2 was mentioned, as well as Metroid trilogy.
I feel like if it's specifically a Pokemon Direct, that game at the end would be a Pokemon related
Yeah, I wouldn't
thing.
imagine it would be anything out of the Pokemon universe. I mean, I could be wrong. By the time you're hearing this, you might have already seen it. So could be all mute
I
subject.
mean, the
Moot
podcast, yeah, I mean, is tomorrow. Most people aren't going to download this tonight. Um,
subject. What has Andy been playing?
Yeah, what has
I
Andy been
already
playing?
said.
Oh yeah.
It was just super hot. It was that depressing that you forgot about it
Yep,
already.
I
It
did.
was-
No Control yet,
No, I haven't had time. I've been working on the podcast stuff. I've been
but
working on
super
that.
hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I say I've been playing super hot, I mean I played between last Wednesday and this Wednesday. I have played 30 additional minutes of super hot. It's not like I've been
Nice.
sitting there playing for like hours upon hours upon hours or anything like that.
Can you verify this, Matt?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Conform or deny. But
Look, words are hard.
yeah,
sometimes.
it was unfortunately a slow week for news, though.
Yeah, it says Pokemon dedicated Nintendo Direct, but I don't know.
I
They're
think there'll
actually
be
calling
something.
it Pokemon Direct 9-1. Oh, not the
9 a.m.
reverse. It's the reverse dating. You know how they do like day and then month. That's very un-American, but. I'm just not used. When I see that, I see September 1st, 2020. I'm like, well, that's a long time away. What's going on here? But then I realized, like, oh, I think that's like the universal version that we just don't use. Yeah, everything's saying Pokemon Direct. I mean, that would be awesome if there's something at the end. But like, I've kind of given up hope. I feel like if they were going to announce Metroid trilogy, it's going to be like during a regular Nintendo Direct. But what?
Yeah,
All
me
right, so
too.
going back though, what do we think this Direct is going to be? Like, what are they?
I don't
Pokemon
know. Like,
Sword and Shield just came out.
all
Are
I
they
can
doing
think
DLC?
all I can think of is DLC, or maybe they're going to add a bunch of Pokemon that people have wanted, because obviously the big to do about that game was they didn't have all the 1,000 Pokemon in
Yeah.
the game. So I imagine maybe they would add in like another 100 Pokemon or
Which
whatever it is.
They cut so many corners. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I guess I'm just so uninterested in this
Yeah, I don't
Pokemon
care.
in general. I can't imagine they would do anything to excite me. Like, I was kind of disappointed that the game wasn't like a big MMO style or like a massive.
I didn't need it to be
game.
like an MMO.
Yeah, I didn't need it to be like. I didn't mean to say like with other players online or anything. But
I mean, how open is it? Open world at
Which is
all,
what
or
an
is it
MMO
pretty
is.
linear?
I mean, it's just
I didn't play
just basically picture just like remember you're walking in between the towns. That just make it open so that you can go to any town you want instead of like more linear. That's it. So
Like that should be exciting, but
guess.
it's just.
I just wanted well, we already went through that. I wanted a little bit of combat change.
Dan, you're the only one out of the table who bought it.
Yeah,
so-
it was free.
What?
It was buy two get one.
That doesn't make it free.
That makes it free.
No, it doesn't. You had to buy 2 games to get it.
Yeah, and you can easily, if you don't like it, Pokemon doesn't go like everything Nintendo owns.
No. I'm not taking this. You didn't buy it for free. I'm not giving you this one.
Wait, which Pokemon did you get?
The
Sword?
Shield.
Oh,
Shield.
did you play? You haven't played it yet?
Yeah, that was the pre-owned one they had. Whatever, I'll take it.
No, they're both the same thing.
Yeah, just one different.
Well, if you had your pick of the litter, would you have taken Sword over Shield?
I would have taken Sword.
I thought the Shield guy looked kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have taken Shield because I feel like everyone that I know of buys Sword because swords are cooler, which would be
Exactly.
if there's any sort I'm so ignorant to this, but is there like a trade function like there is in the other games where you can trade with people that have
I
Sword?
have not played it that much.
Well, yeah, you can do the they introduced back in like Soul Silver, like all that long time ago, the internet trading, so you can trade anything for anything. I just realized, remember going back to past podcasts, we talked about all of those Pokemon things they announced at one point, like Pokemon Sleep and stuff like that. Some people are rumoring that it might be that stuff they're talking about
Pokemon
tomorrow.
Home.
Well, it's a Pokemon Direct-In. What else are they going to talk about?
Dan thinks they're going to open up with Metroid and then end with Zelda. Like, what do you do?
No. At the end, I think they will say also, you know.
Well, there's an entire Direct dedicated to Pokemon. What Pokemon-related things do you think they're going to talk about?
Nothing. They have nothing.
They have nothing.
They have
you think
nothing.
You think it's an entire
It's
show?
a hoax.
They're going to be like, oh,
a
God, we
hoax.
didn't really think this through. We don't have anything for you
we
today.
didn't think people were actually going to show up.
It's going to be 100% Pokemon. DM's
Hey,
going to be really upset
you
about
know
it.
those really big Pokemon? We're going to make them even bigger.
It's a third size now?
It's a third size. We
So
turn them
stupid.
into micro.
Matt, are you ready to
Minor.
complain about that Twitter account?
Yeah, you want to get into it?
I mean, you're the one who keeps bringing it up.
I don't want to bring it up. Stan started bringing it up first, and then he got me all hooked and convinced me that for some reason Legend of Dragoon was being remade, which it is absolutely not.
Sorry.
And now Bluepoint Games keeps tweeting out gibberish, nonsense, garbage.
Is it still
2
garbage?
weeks. Yes. It used to be these like cryptic poems that like pointed to 3 different games at once. But now, just like an hour before the podcast recording started,
Breaking news!
Yeah, they just tweeted, and all it says is "Stay hungry," and then it says hashtag Reset Era, which is like a video game forum, kind of like a Reddit or like a 4chan, but for like
What is it?
It's like a video game forum.
What's it called?
Reset Era.
I've never heard of it.
I
Either.
haven't heard of it either until I looked it up.
I mean, I'm not even on the Reddits,
Right before the
so I'm
podcast.
even less plugged in. So
And then it has a picture, a black picture. It's just completely black, and then it says title in the middle, and then in the bottom right it says fast loading ... with like a picture of what I found out later was a cabbage. It looks like a flower. Showing it to Andy now. And actually, if you change the brightness to the screen, there's actually like a cartoon goat.
I would not have assumed that was cabbage.
Yes, it looks like a flower, but yeah, if you search it, that exact image is of a blue cabbage.
Okay.
So then, as I was saying, so if you change the brightness on this picture, you there in the background there is a goat, like a cartoon-looking goat with giant eyes and giant horns, which doesn't make any sense and doesn't point to any of the games they could be making. I did kind of go down a rabbit hole quickly, and on the Reset Era forums, they had a post like two years ago. There was a post. It wasn't by them, but there was a post called like, oh, what kind of new additions to a Dark Souls remaster would you want? The greatest game of all time, and it just said like GOAT in parentheses. Obviously, GOAT stands for greatest of all time, so people are maybe thinking that has something to do with it.
Didn't Dark Souls just get kind of a remaster?
Yeah.
No, Demon Souls.
And the flower.
This is Demon Souls. This is going to be the original one for the PlayStation 3.
Sorry, did I say Dark Souls? Demon Souls.
This was like this one was really difficult.
Yeah,
This,
but is that a game they've mentioned before? Or is that just
Yes.
adding to the
Yes.
No, that is
every time you look at their tweets, it's always like 70%, Legend of Dragoon toasts, and like 25% of them are just Dark Souls posts, which is it's a game.
Demon Souls.
Sorry, Demon Souls. I keep saying that, and it's a game that came out in 2009 on PS3 and I feel like it's not old enough to want a remaster. Like it's.
Oh, I would want a remaster. I'd buy it.
Still play the same as they do now. It's just they would look a lot better.
Demons.
I mean,
no,
I'm sure
I think Demon Souls wasn't that PS2 era?
No, PS3.
No, it was PS3.
100%.
Yep. I don't know. I feel like that's the only one I never hear anybody talk about. I feel like if they were going to remake one, it's still, I would prefer to see one of the other older games remade, like Legend of Dragoon or something like that. But
and the little cabbage in the corner, I guess it looks like a little lotus that was in the Demon Souls game too, like a little icon. So
you know what?
There's a couple things pointing to that.
You complain, but it got you to just like dig down this rabbit hole and think about like you haven't shut up about this company, so they're doing something right with their advertising.
I know, but I also hate them. Just like tell me what you're doing.
I don't know why they need to advertise themselves anyways, but I mean,
what's frustrating is they're kind of implying they're making all these great games. So if you look at all the tweets, it's all these people wanting these dream games, and they're giving them hope because these tweets are like clearly pointing to Legend of Dragoon. They're clearly pointing to Metal Gear Solid. They're clearly pointing to like Twisted Metal. Just like all these good games that people have this like history and passion and nostalgia for. And obviously, what's going to happen is they're going to announce Demon Souls. And then, this small subset of people are going to be like really happy, and then everyone else is going to be like, "But I really wanted Legend of Dragoon, but I really wanted Metal Gear."
I would love Twisted Metal 2 specifically remade. That'd be great.
That would be cool. But again, who knows what they're doing? It seems more and more I feel like it's going to be Demon Souls because that would be probably the easiest of them to redo. I feel like a full RPG would be kind of a big undertaking.
It's also
not that they couldn't do it.
It's a PlayStation exclusive, so at that point, and I think Sony is trying to acquire them and basically have them just work on like just exclusively PlayStation titles.
What are the previous titles they actually have released?
They did the Shadow of the Colossus remake.
Okay.
They did the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. Okay. Which was fantastic.
They did like the Uncharted collection.
Funny thing about Shadow of the Colossus, so I have the original PS2 version. I thought I was really close to beating it, but I never actually like took that final step. I found out I was nowhere near completing that game because I'm like, I beat up like the 7th out of the 8th Colossi. My girlfriend just beat it. She's like, there's like 20.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the?
There's 20 Colossi?
Yeah, something like that.
I need a
I thought there was only like 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably either borrow that from her pretty soon, or we're moving in together in August. So when we combine our collections into one super collection, I'll technically have it.
So just quickly, Shadow of the Colossus, which was like their big update that a lot of people like. Uncharted Collection, which they did a good job with. Gravity Rush, which I still need to play that.
Gravity Rush. Is that a remake or just their own IP?
That's a place. Or it was a PlayStation Vita exclusive at one point. Then, obviously, PlayStation Vita didn't sell yet. Yeah, it should be. Notable ones are Metal Gear Solid HD collection, and then they did also the God of War collection. So they're mostly PlayStation exclusives.
So that might be why they mentioned so many Metal Gear references, because they already made that collection. Maybe that's why.
Well, again, there's been a lot of speculation that they're remastering the first one.
No, I know, which could use one. I mean, I know Twin Snakes is still very playable and very
I will not
great.
be disappointed if it's Legend of Dragoon, Demon Souls, or Metal Gear.
Demon Souls would not disappoint you.
No, God, no. I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
See, the problem is I'm setting myself up for disappointment because there's literally one game I want from them. Legend of Dragoon.
You wouldn't buy a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1?
He didn't even like the first remake.
I played the original, and then I played the Twin Snakes.
Yeah, but what happens if they update it like Resident Evil 2 did, where they make it, a lot more modernized, and you wouldn't play it again?
I mean, I would play it again. I just can't imagine it would be better.
I don't know. It's kind of like Resident Evil 1 for me, where the GameCube remake already kind of hit the nail on the head, and they just made it prettier over time. Like Metal Gear Twin Snakes is great. It's still playable. Still very playable. I'd love to see it like freshened up graphically, but that's about all they could do with it. I mean, that's about all I assumed they would do with it. Kind of like Shadow of the Colossus. That's all they really did was just make it prettier. And that was remade
but they also made the gameplay a lot easier.
Oh, did they? Because that was the second time
smoother.
It's been remastered, because it got remastered for the PS3 as well.
Yes, it did. It was the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus.
and was that the same company?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So they did it the same game twice.
Well, yeah, but this one they really they
went above
instead
and
of just updating some textures. This one they went in, they fixed the controls of it.
I love that game. So when I played it on the PS2, so I didn't play the PS3 version. So I'm really looking forward to playing this.
I actually was surprised.
Version.
I thought they had a hand in making the Guardian the one for that was a PlayStation exclusive, The Last Guardian.
Well, that was the same developer who made the original Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay, that's where I'm getting mixed up.
The developer that made Ico and Shadow of the Colossus made Last Guardian. This company simply remastered those games.
Yeah, I think because they keep pumping out Shadow of Colossus, I keep thinking, I'm like, oh, these guys make it, right?
Yeah,
like, no.
These are the guys, right?
So, but yeah, they do need to stop with the cryptic tweets. Stop giving people false hopes. Stop false advertising in a way. I get it.
Unless they announce 7 games at once,
they are
doing.
They are making 2. They said they're very heavily involved in 2 games right now. And the idea was that they were trying to work with Sony to contract and basically pump out any game that's just requested by people. Because look at Resident Evil 2. When it gets hey, will people buy this? Yep. I think people are starting to realize, and like companies like Capcom, like, fuck it, let's just listen to the fans and it will sell because it's what they want.
If there was, out of any game ever made, if there was one remake.
Really, you're throwing this on now?
Oh yeah, let's roll the dice.
Well, I know yours. It's about to come out in 2 months.
Oh, that doesn't count because it's coming out in 2 months. But if there was like one remake you'd want to see out of all remakes ever, what would it be?
Matt first.
Sorry, this is kind of I just thought of it.
A loaded question.
All right. I would love to see the original Legend of Zelda remade as not like Link's Awakening, because that was really just copy and paste, better graphics and all that. Make the original Legend of Zelda like Breath of the Wild. That style. Like completely remake the game, but like in that kind of style.
I don't know. That seems
I just think that'd be really cool.
The map
It's
and like
it's so
are so bland. Like, I mean, not bland, but compared to today, bland.
That's why remake, not
but I
not
feel like it's so hard to.
It would be like a different game.
Yeah, it would feel because that was the game, was like top down. I'm just trying to think, like, if you flattened one of those rooms, it'd be pretty friggin' boring. Like it'd be hard to make that feel like the original without being
like say make it feel like the original.
Yeah, I guess they could just redo it.
All right, fine.
Isn't that kind of every Zelda game?
Never mind. Whole conversation over. We're just shitting on Andy now.
No, I mean, it would be neat.
I feel like that's kind of what they do
Honestly,
with every
Metroid
Zelda game.
Prime.
Every time it's like they're restarting with like this Link that doesn't know anything and starts his adventure.
Although I will have to say Metroid Prime is probably, but
yeah, I mean, all I can think about is stupid Legend of Dragoon now. And then I mean, you've heard me complain about Final Fantasy VIII in the past. Like, I feel like there's a better game in there that if they can.
What about the newer? Or is that just prettier?
I mean, it's just a prettier version. Like, what I'm annoyed about is the junctioning system and the how you can basically break the game really early on.
Break the game?
You can break the game as in make it super easy by just like junctioning magic to a certain way where you get like tons of attack power and health like at level 15, and you can just destroy everyone. So like it's not about leveling up and grinding, it's about like strategically getting these junctions filled out, but you can do it so much quicker that it's like just boring. Breaks it.
Intelligent Cube would be a good one. Remake with like modern graphics, because that game chugged.
Yeah,
what
that
I
was
remember.
A fun game, but
Grand Theft Auto 3 would be a lot of fun.
It's just a puzzle game.
San Andreas. Or
San
Vice
Andreas.
City. Do the trilogy.
Oh yeah, just
remake the trilogy. Do it now. No, Rockstar.
Vice City. Well, that at this point you just can make
that was probably
new
very
story.
loud to the listeners.
Yeah,
I'm very
probably.
sorry. No,
it's loud to me.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't.
I'm
care
partially
about that.
deaf in my right ear now. Thanks.
Can you imagine that trilogy being redone, reskinned, and remastered and put on console? I would.
Grand
oh my
Theft,
god!
Oh, the Grand Theft Autos.
Yeah, I never played 3.
They might start with seeing how Capcom has made so much money from doing this. I wonder if companies are in. Typically, like I said, Mass Effect's been doing futuristic, or I shouldn't say Mass Effect or BioWare. It should be Bethesda, futuristic, and then they do like medieval. And then now I'm wondering,
like Fallout and that other thing.
Yeah, well, Fallout and Elder Scrolls.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So you got the new and the old. You got Rockstar, who does the Red Dead Redemption, and they do the Grand Theft Auto. I'm wondering now if they're thinking, all right, well, because the sales of these remakes is really good, especially if we put some really good teams on it. Why don't we have one team work on the newer stuff, one person work on the older game, and then the other one do, or focus on the new game, the Grand Theft Auto, 6 or whatever, and then have someone working on the old one.
See, I imagine they would outsource that. I can't imagine
outsource
they would,
it to a bit, but
I can't imagine they would remake the entire game. I imagine they would just make it kind of like what they've been doing with other, like Shadow of the Colossus, like that type of thing, but they just make it a little prettier, a little blend.
But now that they have the engine of like, hey, we already have Grand Theft Auto 5's engine, like you don't have to do nearly as much work.
They wouldn't take one of their current teams. They would just kind of like this company. What's the developer?
Bluepoint Games.
Like they didn't make all of those games originally. They are outsourced to remake the games and port them to the consoles. They would probably do something like that with the Grand Theft Auto trilogy.
Well, yeah, but like typically with these games went towards like the end of the life cycle of like making these games. They move people on to a new, team. Like, all right, so the Mass Effect Andromeda people jump to Anthem.
Got fired.
Yeah, well, that too. But for the remaining people, they went to Anthem,
joking.
and
I
then
really
the poor
I'm not
Anthem
laughing about that.
Well, yeah, and the poor workforce.
No, I feel really bad for all
death.
the people who work there. I'm sorry.
he actually is. Sorry, I'm looking at his face right now. He's quite
That made me
ashamed
feel bad
of no
just saying that.
yeah. So I mean, if they hire people and they just hire them to higher standards, like what they do with the other people that they have, and they just have another team working on it, knowing how much money they can make. Again, Capcom has made a ton. They've been killing it this year.
Who's been developing those Capcom remakes? Is it like a different
The actual
subsidiary?
the actual Capcom people. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have a full team devoted to a remake of you got to make it like a really, really good game. But I mean, the more that these games come out,
I mean,
it takes time, and then you got an old one to deal with.
You said it yourself. Grand Theft Auto 5 is the best-selling game of all time. I'm surprised they haven't announced a remake or anything like that.
Oh, just one of the older ones. As well, one of the 3D older ones. So again, Grand Theft Auto 3, San Andreas might not sell as well now because literally you played in San Andreas in Grand Theft Auto 5.
That has to be remade. If I'm going to pick one of the three, it's going to be that one.
Oh no, it'd be Vice City.
Vice City all the way.
Yeah,
Vice City was great. Vice City was just two little islands. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was like huge.
Yeah, but when you remaster it, you
Huge.
kind of like how Resident Evil 2 added bathrooms in the Resident Evil 2 game. So they added some more stuff, and I guess Resident Evil 3, they're trying to do the same thing. They're not going to make it exactly about how the story was. They're going to remix it a little bit, which I'm excited for. And they said this one's going to be more focused on like shooting compared to the other one, where it was just like, oh, you have 3 bullets. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm
It's
trying to
like,
remember.
oh, crap.
I haven't played 3 in like the longest time
Yeah.
out of all the Resident Evil games. Like I played it when it was on the PlayStation.
I've never played that one.
And from what I remember, it
was my
a
favorite.
fine game, but it was a lot of like open corridors and streets and stuff because you were going through the city.
But that's what I'm excited about for 3. It's
It
going
wasn't
to
like
be
a big mansion to explore, which is I don't know if that's like if it's not going to take as long or if it's like a shorter game or
I hope not.
or if they'll just like add buildings to it or anything. Or
I bet you they will.
mean,
but not only
obviously
that,
they're
I
gonna
think getting through the
little
streets
bigger, I
will
would
be
imagine.
tough.
And I wonder if like my that kind of what I perceive as maybe a kind of a shorter game compared to 2 is why they're kind of giving away that multiplayer for free, or if it's going to be like a big full game on its own.
Don't give me like
Doubts.
now I know how you feel about friggin' Legend of Dragoon. Like all this hype and no, I think it'll, like I said, they'll follow a formula. I mean, they already had the engine done. They've been using it since Resident Evil 7, so I would hope that at this point, knowing how successful Resident Evil 2 was, and again, they already have the script, so they already know like, hey, we can build this and we can build that. I mean, Resident Evil 3 was a pretty long game from what I remember. And from what they've been saying is I think they're just going to make this one very like not action heavy, but they're going to give you a lot more firepower. But at that point, I'm guessing they're going to increase the amount of enemies that you're fighting.
Yeah, I remember there were some fun like extras that you could unlock. Like you could get like I think a chain gun and a rocket launcher that you could get for like the next games and just kind of completely blow over everyone.
Oh yeah, it'll be ridiculous.
That'll
but
be fun to do.
I also just hope they fix the Nemesis. God, he just
It's hard to think
What do you
of
mean
like
fix the Nemesis?
his nose he just looks like
His
a
nose?
he looks-
You're mad about his nose?
the
no, his whole
redesign, he
face
doesn't
looks.
like.
It looks like a hockey player. Like his nose is just to the side, and he just looks like a creepy
Dan
guy.
sent me this picture, and he really thought I was going to be like, I don't know if you really. I assumed you thought I was going to be like outlandish, like, oh my god, it looks horrible. I looked at him like, what am I looking at? Then you showed me the original. I'm like, I mean, it looks a little different.
Yeah, but
I had such like a lame
But
reaction
they
to it.
nailed
you-
the
you
Mr.
might.
X thing, but
Matt might hate it.
it just looks like from the front it's okay, but from the side it literally just looks like his nose is sideways, and it's just like, all right, he's a kind of deformed human, and the idea, what I thought was terrifying, is that he didn't feel human in Resident Evil 3 and the Nemesis. He felt like some creature. So I don't like the idea that they're humanize him, because then it just feels like Mr. X wasn't creepy to me. He was just a guy, overgrown guy in a trench coat. Like, all right, great, you're not creepy, you're just annoying.
I was just thinking about this. It's hard to think of remakes I would want, because they've remade so many of the best games already. Like
Star Tropics. No, I'm sorry. I just thought of like a remake.
nah, leave that be. Work on better things. Star Tropics is just like this weird, like it's not the greatest game. It just helps.
Does he have a yo-yo?
That is a weapon he can get. Yes.
How cool would that be in like a beat 'em up game to just
Ness had a yo-yo,
Streets
too.
of Rage as a beat 'em up 3D? Ooh, that would be pretty neat.
I was thinking of Digimon World, but that's like a niche. Like they would never remake that. I just think that'd be really the original.
They've made a Digimon game for PlayStation 4. I don't know how it plays, but
There was 2 that came out for PS4. One of them, I guess, was really good. The other one really sucked. But the original Digimon World was great. But that's just like the kid in me.
Yeah, I would really
Talking.
I was just thinking. Now I'm just thinking about games I like.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking an Ape Escape remake would be great, but it's like these are just games that I really liked playing. Like I guess any game that I really liked,
Yeah,
I would like a remake of.
Twilight Princess and Wind Waker already got remakes. Link's Awakening just got a remake. FF7 remake is
remaster.
for
It's just a remaster.
which one that I named?
Twilight Princess.
Oh, and Wind Waker.
Wind
Yeah,
Waker.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
were
because they
really
just touched up the Resident Evil 2 is a remake.
That's
like
true.
Resident
That's
Final
true.
Fantasy 7 remake.
Link's Awakening is technically a remake, but they really just copy and pasted the format. They really didn't do anything to it. But that
Yeah.
was remade from the ground up. It's not like they used any of the assets.
That felt like a full upgrade, because the other one
Yeah.
was 2D, right?
it was a Game
2D?
Boy game.
Yeah, so it was 2D. It wasn't. Was it a top down?
Yeah, it was top down.
But it was
Okay.
It wasn't poly. It was
like-
sprites.
yeah,
it wasn't
just-
polygons or
it-
anything.
Okay.
No,
So-
like that was a ground
a
up
Game Boy game,
remade. Like
so.
Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. I'm sure they just took the source code and made
just
a slice of
fine-tuned it.
life thing, stuff
Frame-
like that.
frame
Yeah,
rate,
so
yeah.
I guess that would be that. They even called it on the box, like what an HD
Yeah.
remaster. But yeah, we're living in a world where like a game to like warrant a remake, it had to have been like 90s or below, or like maybe PS2 era. And
Yeah,
below.
that's why I'm so annoyed about the Demon Souls thing, because it's like, who wants a remake of a game that was in the
Brought it
PS3
back
or
around.
Xbox 360?
Dan's raising his arm.
Even PS2, I feel like is almost
Is that a question or
recent
just
to get,
saying
like-
you?
No, I'd buy it day one.
Okay.
I'm very excited. If
What'd you
it's,
say, Matt? Sorry.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like what like you were
maybe you
saying,
need to
90s, is it
expand your
like-
horizons.
Is it the kind of PlayStation 1 era, or are there any PS2 games I would even want to see?
You guys
remastered?
moaned and groaned
Siphon
when I brought
Filter.
this up, but like now we can't
That's a
stop talking
PlayStation 1
about
game,
it.
though.
Yeah, but that's the area. Like
Yeah,
that 3D realm that was
Yeah, 'cause-
uncomfortable to play now. Like Silent Hill
Exactly.
2. I take it back. Silent Hill 2. That
Yeah.
hands down.
I don't know why I was.
I think
about
it's
to
pretty
high
much
five you for that.
any game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Silent
need
Hill
to
2.
play it.
Almost any good game on that generation, because they're saying like that was what they were kind of in this growing pains era where they were getting out of 2D into 3D,
Yeah.
and they still had great stories, and some of it was great at the time, but like we've evolved so much as far as gameplay that it's hard to go back to all these
Yeah,
really good
Our
games.
TVs won't even really play them well.
Yeah, so like they should just like have like a team of people just do like every PlayStation and game.
And you could even go as far to say like the PS2, GameCube era too. Like anything that required AV cables to play on a TV needs to be remade. Just all of them.
Well, yeah, I mean,
keep churning it out.
just a lot of them would be easy sells. Like a Final Fantasy Tactics. Like I don't love Final Fantasy that much, but like a Final
That one
Fantasy
does
Tactics
surprise me.
game,
Like, at this
especially
point-
on the phone. Like even on the phone, that's a game. Like $5 on the phone. Like that's kind of neat. Because those type of games, you no longer like those are the ones. Those feel like mobile games.
Yeah,
now
I'm surprised that more companies haven't ported older titles like Game Boy games to the like if
Well-
if Nintendo made an official emulator and ported Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games to the
I thought they did. I thought you could. Oh, to the phone.
it's not legal.
Well, you also the phone is kind of tough depending on the game. Final Fantasy Tactics, it's turn-based, so you can take your time, so you can select. Whereas if you need something immediate, obviously
true.
playing a game where you're moving around like just touching the screen, that's
hard.
uncomfortable, and
Yes.
it's never. That's why the Vita failed so much, because they were like, oh yeah, you can use this as this controller.
Would love Advanced Wars on the phone. That would be great. Although it's called War Groove for the Switch. It's basically a spiritual successor.
Well, honestly, you should, even though it's not a phone game, you should really, going back to Slay the Spire, you should really play that. It's so good.
Add it to the
But wait,
list.
it's friggin' expensive. Like, as great as it is and as addictive
I can probably get it on a Switch store sale for like $5 eventually. I don't need
digitally,
the
if you get it digitally.
I'm not like, I don't need the physical copy of stuff like that.
Yeah, I wanted the physical copy of it, and
Now, Link's Awakening Dreamers Edition from Europe, you'd be damn sure I got that physical
I mean,
copy.
the downside though of these remakes is it comes at the cost of new games, which is part of the reason why I'm really kind of like hesitant about this kind of episodic nature of Final Fantasy VII, because it's like, how many Final Fantasy new entries are we not getting because they're making all of these 7 entries? It's like, part of me wants them to redo 7, 8, 9, and 10, but part of me wants complete new stories, but part of me is so disappointed in the last
Yeah, it's like they
15
haven't made a
years.
good Final Fantasy in how long? What does it matter?
But this is guaranteed.
Take another shot.
See,
This
that's
one
the
will
other
be
thing.
good.
This is guaranteed to be a game that you knew and loved, rather than Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, Lightning Returns. Like, all of those I could have cared less.
It's
like,
not
if they
only that.
all burned in a fire.
Like Square Enix is bigger than anybody thinks. They've combined with a lot of other developers. They've made a lot of games. Like, there's a lot of games that have come out over the past decade that I didn't know Square Enix had a hand in.
Deus Ex.
Mind Jack was a Square Enix game. Like, there's games they aren't making that they take those teams and have them go work on the new Final Fantasy.
Just Cause. They're the ones that make Just Cause.
Cause.
Yep.
But what else happened in the news this past week? Anything?
That's it. Nothing.
It was really...
I think this is going to be a big drought until we get like either a Nintendo Direct or like.
We're gonna have to start bringing back the discussion segments.
Yeah, or if Microsoft or Sony has their kind of press conference with their new systems, that'll be exciting. But I think until then, we're going to be kind of, for the next couple months, we might be short.
Next week we'll be able to talk about the whatever happened in the Direct, I guess. But if
But
it's
I mean,
just about
none
Pokemon,
of us really care much about Pokemon, so.
No, I mean, they're not going to announce anything for Go. I'm not even in the Go mood right now, anyways, because it's winter where I am. So
Too cold out to play that.
Move to Florida.
I can't even bring myself to like drive around with it. I'm like, I just want to go home and
I just
curl
deleted
up.
it. I was just like, I'm done.
Oh, you'll get back into it in the summer. You've deleted it a few times, Dan.
No, once. I've deleted it. Wait a minute. We're talking.
you get
we're talking
back-
to the king of install delete over here with
Yeah, but
Clash
I
of
don't
Clans.
lie about it though.
You were just kind of like, I don't
I
really.
deleted a lot and re-download a lot of games. But no, Pokemon Go, like when I see you play it, like when you're into it in the spring and summer, you're like addicted. Like that's all you're doing when we're at a restaurant or we're in line for somewhere, and then you'll say you delete
Yeah,
it
but
in the winter
now,
when no one's playing.
now I found 2 other different passions. One of them is always researching for the podcast,
Okay. That's
and then the other one
valuable,
is fantasy sports.
which is done. Unless you're going to get into
Baseball.
fantasy baseball. Oh,
Yep.
God. Are you really doing that?
Absolutely.
That's video game related, Matt. Don't give me that look.
I
It's on the phone.
What?
You guys have phones, don't you? You guys have phones, don't you?
Fantasy football and fantasy baseball counts.
Final
Video
Fantasy
games, so-
football. That's a great game. Mix it.
No.
Yeah, we still haven't heard.
Cloud goes back to pass. No.
On that point, we still haven't heard anything about Diablo Immortal, and that's annoying me too.
Oh, yeah. I keep asking you. Every month I'll ask you about that.
Wait,
They
there is a
announced-
big game coming out that maybe I
This
can.
is a joke.
That,
This is going to be a bit.
No. It's not a bit. And I actually would like to potentially play with you guys. Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Oh, all
Would
right.
you guys
That
be
wasn't a
interested in
bit.
playing that?
I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought it was
Yeah,
going to be a bit.
I don't think so.
No, come on, I'm reaching out to you as a non-PC player.
Yeah, but
to
I feel
please
like-
try.
Dan,
Well,
I have
I-
something to tell you.
Oh
I have
God,
a,
what?
I have a,
Matt doesn't want to play games with you.
No, it's
Why?
Just Warcraft.
I don't know.
I feel like Warcraft 3 in particular. I mean, this is my opinion,
kidding,
and I'm
by the
sure
way.
it's a very unpopular opinion. I feel like Warcraft 3 kind of killed the RTS genre.
Whoa.
By
like
bringing
the
in-
entirety of it?
Yeah, by bringing in hero characters and kind of changing how you played it. Like this, it was smaller formations. You had to level up a guy, and it basically slowly turned them into like MOBAs, and then MOBAs took over.
I mean, real-time strategies, it's not like they were ever necessarily booming, and they haven't really died either.
there was this sweet spot in the 90s where you had like Age of Empires 2 and then StarCraft. I mean, I was so into StarCraft. It was probably my most ever played game, like total combined, still to this day. I played it like every day after school with friends for like a few years at least.
StarCraft is essentially Warcraft with space paint, right?
Yes, basically.
So, because I just bought it for the PC.
Did you say space paint?
Yeah,
that's funny.
It's like I couldn't think of skin, so I just said paint.
It's like what they do in
space paint.
Oh, fucking what's that stupid? I think it was Dragon Ball Z Abridged series. They would like say like Space Australia and Space Flower. It's like anything came from space, it would just put space in front of it. That's
Space Force.
So space paint.
Space paint.
But we use it in space.
So you wouldn't play?
I would want to play PC games with you. Like there's a shooter game called GTFO that I was interested in. I don't know if you're
sure if it's cheap and it's like
not cheap.
Goofy. God damn it! Like as long as it's not an MMO.
I'm more into like co-op games that are kind of either like a shooter or like a
Gears of War.
Dan,
would you all want to play Gears of War? Gears of War.
Hang on, Dan.
I want to play a game. I want to
go.
Manabarpodcast game together. We did it with Apex.
There's a disconnect though, because Matt will play all of the PvE games with you, and I'll play all the PvP games with you. But neither him nor I like both. PvE games.
Wait a minute. You played Apex.
That was out of the comfort zone for him.
Yeah, I did. That was kind of a.
All right. What about Gears of War?
Outlier.
I am willing to buck over and play a co-op game with you guys.
Okay, so would you? I mean, Gears of War 5.
There's some co-op.
Well, no,
games
you can't play Gears of War 5.
Like I'm really excited about the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles remake. I'm like tempedly excited about the Avengers game and like just.
I forgot about that.
I'm potentially gonna get that, but I've heard a lot of issues. So
I don't think it's gonna be great, but I feel like it'll still be fun to play for
Scratch that itch,
Yeah.
See, this is why they just need to remake older Final Fantasy games. All the games they're coming out with are dumpster fires if they're not a remake of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So if the game is good, I like to find like co-op games.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it won't be good.
No, I mean, even if there's like a dungeon crawler, like one of those like top-down ones.
Have you ever heard of Bridge? I don't know what it's called. It's
Bridge Brigade?
That's what I was gonna say, that's what I was gonna say. But is that a game?
I don't know.
Pillars of Wait a minute.
I just said it. It must be something.
Is it Pillars of Eternity?
No, that's like a completely different game.
Do you know what I'm still waiting for? Like every game I liked at PAX last year still has not come out.
Well,
like one of them came
developers.
out.
They're slow.
I know. A couple of them were RTSs.
Strange Brigade. That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
it's like a 4. Oh, you have not a happy face on Dan right now.
It's just weird.
But it's like a 4-player co-op. Those are the kind of games I like. Not necessarily that quality.
Okay, that one, yeah.
But like that style of like multiplayer.
Well, there's Gears of War. Like I said, that one. Excuse me, the older ones. Gears of War 1 and 2.
I'm looking for like a
Am I the only one who
doesn't
like Gears of War?
I don't love it, which is
I
why
don't
he
love
keeps
it,
saying it.
but that's why I think as a team.
So does anybody think it's like the best game ever made or anything like that?
No, it's a broski game.
No. I mean like the general masses.
No, I think it's just like this is Xbox. This is all we have now that Halo's not as good.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I always felt like the odd man out because anytime anybody would talk about Gears of War, in my head, I would always be saying like, I hate
the
Gears
first
of
one was
War.
really good, and then they didn't innovate it, and it was just kind of like it got slower,
stale.
And just like stale.
Yeah, the 2 and 3 are forgettable.
Got better, so
1 was impressive for what it was, and the co-op part of it.
About 4. Also forgettable.
4, I don't even remember what happened. 5 was good, but because they tried to emphasize more of a single player and a deeper story. So I like that. But games like Resident Evil 5 as a whole, it's not that good. But as a co-op game, it's good.
When I moved in with Matt, one of the first things we did, like when we thought we were going to play more games together, was play Resident Evil 5 co-op. We started playing through that.
That's
again.
fun.
It was all right.
It was
really fun playing a game with you. It was just the game. That's all right.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, just Gears of War 1 is a fun game just to screw around with. You don't take it seriously. I mean, that's why it's kind of hard to play games like any kind of like serious game that has like a story to it in an MMO style, because I don't know, you're playing with people you're going to be talking and not listening to the story. That's why it's not to be taken seriously. It's just, oh, there's a bunch of enemies and I have a rocket launcher. Let's do the math. Like, you just blow it up. It's free. It's on Game Pass. And also, another game on Game Pass that I'm very interested in talking about RTS is Frostpunk. That's coming free. That's the one where you can
good things about that game.
That's the one where you have to make like really hard decisions about like child labor
briefly.
Or or you have to sacrifice
Wait,
people.
you played it on PS4?
Yeah, I talked about it a few months on the podcast. Like,
maybe that's where I heard it from originally.
Yeah, it didn't play great because the controls were it was like such an RTS
it's
game.
It's a PC game.
Yeah, so I would not recommend playing it on PS4, but I mean
it's free on Xbox at that point. It's free.
Is it all coming to Game Pass, or is it already on Game Pass? Because I didn't see it when I was looking at games.
It might have been this month, but
okay. I'll have to give that
was
a shot.
one. But
yeah, that's a similar issue I had with XCOM, where like it just didn't work as good on the PS4. But for some reason,
I wasn't in the mood
2 did.
Yeah, I wasn't in the mood for a slow game. It does kind of feel a little bit slow and just kind of the way that it moves. So
it's funny you bring up that Diablo mobile game though, because I do ask you that like once a month. I ask you, like, hey, did that thing ever come out that I'm not going to get?
They announced it in 2018. They didn't mention
there was a backlash
at the BlizzCon. They didn't even mention it at the 2019 BlizzCon, even though they announced a ton of stuff, and they still haven't heard it. We still haven't heard anything about it, and presumably it's. I mean, I would assume it would be close to done. I guess there's
I don't think it's coming out, Matt. I think it was a reskin.
You think they're just going to slowly push it off?
I don't think there was anything slow about it. I think it was really quick and painless.
It was at BlizzCon on the floor. Like you could play a demo.
Oh,
of it.
Really?
You could play a demo of it, and they had like 1 or 2 more characters.
That was in
unlocked.
September, right? So that was pretty.
November of last year.
All right, so that was pretty recent.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I forgot about it. Blizzard's been kind of on fire. I mean, that's died down a little bit, but like I don't think pushing that mobile game is like number 1 on their priority list.
It's just weird. Like I feel like mobile games, if you want to announce a mobile game, it better come out within a year. Like you can't just pump up a mobile game.
Here's
for
the
3
issue.
years.
But not only that, like release it right before the big. Like mobile games are just time wasters. They're not to be taken seriously. They're just kind of like, oh, they're there.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, it's like I said, you can't really just pump up and get people excited about a mobile game 3 years out like you could with a Cyberpunk or a Resident Evil or something.
Yeah, because you can't take them seriously.
Anybody listening looking for one of the best mobile games ever made, play the Room trilogy. The Room 2 and the Room 3. If you like puzzle games, they're amazing.
Really
they're
fun.
very high quality. They're
really
not
fun
free.
Puzzle boxes. Games.
I think the first one's 99 cents, second one's like a couple bucks, third one's like a few bucks, but those were fantastic.
They're all worth that amount.
And if you will wait long enough, you kind of forget how to do all the puzzles and you can play them again. They're like that intricate.
Yeah.
Dan, I have 2 of them on my phone if you ever want to try them out.
Oh, okay.
Damien.
Damien was the one.
Damien turned them on them. The thing about mobile games is and this might be the reason that more big time developers don't really get into it, is it's kind of like what the Switch store is sort of been turning into, which is just like millions and millions and millions
it's
of
so
like
hard to find a good mobile game.
Games.
It's so hard to search through that
all that other stuff.
Search through the Google Play Store.
So they might just be too timid to try it. I mean, Nintendo's been dipping their toes in. EA only did the Command and Conquer thing. Microsoft really only had the Gears Pops, and I mean, none of the Nintendo. I mean, you're still playing Mario Kart. That's pretty fun, right?
Yeah, I'm still playing Mario Kart every day, which is, I mean, it's pretty fun. It's kind of addicting. It's just kind of like every week they have a competitive cup, so you're trying to get in first in like your group of ranking of 20 players, which is pretty fun. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
I mean, most companies probably just think it's too tapped of a market for people like non-gamers almost, who are just looking for like quick dumb.
Well, yeah, the non-gamers are the ones that just want to be like, oh, I'm just going to play this.
Crush 6.
Then they're going to be like, oh, 99 cents, whatever. I just want to beat this level. I don't care.
Yeah, the problem is like the value. People got so used to getting these games for free that like if you ever tried to release a game for $30, people would scoff at it. But you could make a mobile game that was $30 that would worth $30.
It would have to
it's
be
just no one's gonna
really
do it.
detailed. It would have to be like almost like Dauntless, where
I mean, you can buy like a Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy 8, 9, or 10 or 7, not 10, on your phone for like $20, $15. So, and those are, I don't want to say they're worth that, but I mean they kind of are. They're full games. $15 for a full game, even though it's kind of like a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, but can you imagine trying to play that on your phone? Like you gotta select each option. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
It is a pain, but I mean, say you have like an hour bus ride every day, you can just play an hour and then.
Yeah, but you can play that on the Switch with a comfortable Joy-Con.
Love for something like Age of Empires 2 to come to the phone. I think that's a really easy one.
Don't you need a lot of like precision clicking though?
Yeah, that's why like.
Yeah, but all you need to do, you don't really need to like, you just tap and tap.
Yeah, but it's
click on units. You go here.
Yeah, but you got to select. That's why Final Fantasy
can
Tactics
zoom in and out on Age of Empires.
Yeah, but that's why like Final Fantasy Tactics is like it's low poly, like it's you can just shine it up a little bit.
Age of Empires 2 is from the 90s. I'm not talking about the remake.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm thinking the remake.
Or even just a mobile version of Age of Empires, which, again, coming back to tapped market, I'm sure they already have like 80 billion free versions that are just like Age of Empires.
Did you ever play Age of Empires Online?
I didn't even know there was an Age of Empires Online.
I was pretty into it. It came out, I was just looking it up on my phone. It came out in 2011. It was like an online free-to-play game. But it was like a regular...
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
No. Age of Empires 2 was just a huge part of my 90s. My 90s.
Yeah, I never played that. I was a StarCraft guy.
Not yours.
I was a SimCity person.
See, I never got into SimCity, but I always wanted to. I loved Roller Coaster Tycoon, though.
Roller Coaster Tycoon was fun, but SimCity was great because I used to just do the mode where like a monster would attack, and I'd be like, I'm gonna fix everything.
So my girlfriend just finally upgraded her 2012 laptop into a new Microsoft Surface, but of course, things nowadays, not even like the regular laptops, they aren't coming with a CD drive anymore. And her one, worry to the man at the Microsoft store was, how will I play Roller Coaster Tycoon and Zoo Tycoon, though?
Oh, I mean, that's a legitimate question.
It's funny, though. That's it. Those are the only 2 discs she has, but...
Well, you can get an external drive.
No, I know. Yeah. It was just funny. It was a funny story, Dan.
It is a funny story.
Don't bring logic into this.
I mean, Roller Coaster Tycoon is fantastic.
Oh, it's amazing. Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 was horrible.
Why?
You just made roller coasters and rid them. Rode them.
Rid them?
You
got rid of them.
Roded? Ride? I got it.
You don't have people come in?
What? Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
God, what a horrible idea.
And then I don't know what happened to the series after that. They made a zoo. That's about all I know. But anything else you guys want to bring to the table?
No.
I got nothing.
We're good.
I'm all out. This week has been slow.
Hopefully there's some Metroid info next week. Yay!
On this Pokemon Direct.
I'm hoping.
I don't speak for
Can
you,
I hope?
okay, everyone?
Can I hope?
All right. Is there anything?
I'm gonna look like an idiot.
I already
next
know
week when
it's a no for you, Dan. Matt, is there anything Pokemon related they could announce tomorrow that would actually make you like excited?
I don't think so, unless they somehow now, because they're definitely not going to announce a brand new Pokemon game this short after Sword and Shield. So
I would say the one thing, just because it was my favorite Pokemon game that they could do, is remake Silver and Gold, either in the style of Let's Go or in the style of Sword and Shield. But Pokemon Silver, I that was the one that I would replay so many times. I loved Soul Silver was great. That was perfect. In my opinion, Soul Silver is currently the best Pokemon game. I haven't played one better.
yeah, I just want them to make like a R-rated noir version of Pokemon.
Oh my God.
Where like everything.
They made Detective Pikachu for the 3DS.
Yeah, I want everything to be like dark and have them be like fighting each other to the death, and just like gangs and things like that.
Did you guys ever play
I guess they have
Detective
games,
Pikachu for
but-
the 3DS?
Yeah, it's called Pokemon Michael Vick Edition.
Jesus. Whoa,
That was dark.
That's a dark joke.
That's even darker than I was going.
I don't even want to get into that. Detective Pikachu for the 3DS, he actually talked. He didn't talk like Ryan Reynolds. He talked like an actual gumshoe. Like, yeah, see, we're gonna solve the crime.
What type of combat was that?
I don't know. It didn't get good reviews. I think it was like a mystery solving
Yeah,
game.
it's
I don't
kinda
think
like
you were.
Oh, it's not an actual
Professor
like,
Layton
Pokemon?
It's just kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. See,
When I heard Pikachu talking like that, I'm like, that's.
I also
pretty
didn't
funny.
know what like the Ranger Guardian signs or whatever that DS game was.
Oh, Pokemon Rangers.
well, yeah, but Guardian sign is like the ad. I believe me, when I worked at GameStop, that was the Pokemon game that came out. They'd be like, "Can I have Pokemon Ranger Guardian signs?" I'm like, okay,
That was actually called Ranger Guardian Signs.
yeah. Swear to God,
That's a dumb name.
I agree. But I guess it had a different style of combat, and that's actually what made me interested in learning more about them.
Yeah, like I did not buy Pokemon Let's Go Eevee or Pikachu, so I would take I didn't buy Sword and Shield either. So all the presumable Pokemon funds that I would have spent, I will gladly pay on a Soul Silver remake or a Pokemon Silver remake in a 3D landscape.
Well, isn't that what the 3DS one was supposed to be?
What 3DS one?
The Soul. It was like a remake of Soul Silver, or I'm sorry, this
No.
one, Blue and I don't know. I get them all mixed up.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were a remake of Blue and Red.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That's
The great thing about Silver and Gold was it was the new area, and then you went back to the Red and Blue area. It was like a double game. It was great. And then you fought Red at the end. Like the person you played as in the first 2 games, you fought him at the end of Silver.
Oh, that's pretty freaking
Like
cool.
the game was just great, and it was the second gen of Pokemon, which were still good Pokemon in my opinion. Not bad, they were good.
That would be... Well, all right, so now going back to remakes, if they were able to remaster the original Pokemon, Red and Blue, in 3D, and...
Didn't they just do that?
No, and do the combat like Ni no Kuni type of thing where you control the actual Pokemon, that would be fantastic.
See, as much as I am always saying, like, I don't mind turn-based, I don't mind this, I want them to upgrade a Pokemon battle system like that. I really do.
just
like,
a little change.
Whenever I watched it on the show, like, they were always doing, like, neat things like, oh, Pikachu dodge, or Pikachu use the environment somehow. And then in the game, it was never really like that. It was always just like, you have 4 attacks.
Yeah, it's so slow.
Like, I don't mind Final Fantasy because there's, like, a lot of different intricacies you can do, but I could use...
It's quick, too. Like, this one, it's like... And not only that, the picture just moves, and it's like...
Well, on the older ones.
Even the newer one, they don't, like, run over and
That's true.
slap them.
That's true.
It's still, like... And it's like, update a little bit. I mean, Halo, like I said, they tried to update a little bit. They're like, all right, let's modernize it. Let's make it run.
There's a reason we're so good at Halo 4 as opposed to the other
maybe
ones.
Pokemon isn't for 30-something-year-old men.
Don't you dare say that.
I think that might be the problem.
That might be
out
it,
of
too.
The other thing is, let's go peek
Again, I will play Soul Silver still, though. I love Soul Silver.
Yeah.
Like, that's a great game. I'm not saying I refuse to play the turnstile. I'm just saying, like, a Silver remake a la open world-esque 3D I would totally get. But, like, is there anything they could announce tomorrow that you'd even be remotely interested in?
No, I can't think of anything that they would feasibly make. Like if they made a completely new Pokemon game that I felt was more like a big open world.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
You mean do what they were supposed to do a couple months ago?
What I pictured in Sword and Shield was not what they gave us.
Yeah,
I had a feeling of waiting. Now, when I found out when it was being released, I'm like, that's way too soon to be like a really good open world, thick Pokemon game.
I bet you, too, this is the first console one. So they were like, we want to make it, play it safe. Like,
they went way too safe, though.
So I'm wondering
because the guy who created Pokemon didn't even have enough, what's the word? Faith in the Switch to begin with. That's why he waited until after it was released to even announce that they were working on a Pokemon game for it.
Really? Didn't have faith in their new
Well,
system?
look at the Wii U.
I know.
I mean, well, no, think about Pokemon. They were handheld only. The handheld market was great for Nintendo. Their 3DS even sold really well,
That's true.
But, yeah, I don't know. You know what? I can't think of anything that if anything, it's just going to be a disappointing direct about those dumb sleep apps and all those health things, or like using your Pokemon as a buddy or something like that.
Yep, and I'm sure we'll have another dumb Bluepoint Twitter posts about.
Well, you said it's every 2
some
weeks,
nonsense.
right? So it's going to be 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, it seems to be every couple weeks. It's not every week per se.
I'm going to at them and be like, hey, can you send out another cryptic tweet so my friend goes nuts?
Misery has brought me a lot of enjoyment, though. It's just very entertaining
It's
to
just
watch.
like I'm mad at their pretentiousness at this point.
the
Like,
funny-
I want to delete their Twitter account. Like, you don't deserve Twitter.
Did you do your homework?
No, I did not.
See, this is what happens
What
if I don't
homework?
put them on the spot.
What's the homework?
Like, oh, did you put me on the spot, dude? Give me a week. I'm like, all right, I'll give you a week.
He's
Do you
going
want to just be the trophy hunter then?
Yes, sure. For now.
We're also going to see some beautiful screenshots from him because he plays these mostly unique games compared to
Yeah, Matt's going to
myself.
start tweeting out game screenshots through our Twitter.
It's like I feel like you're doing this on the cast, so I can't not do it now.
Yes.
We got to.
Well,
But you take beautiful snapshots.
Matt, all you have to do is hit a button.
you gotta link the account.
This is the guy
remember,
wait,
this is
hang
he
on.
can't move
Yeah,
his
the guy,
finger.
yeah.
He can't move.
I think that's like the laziest I've ever heard someone be.
You go to work, right?
I do.
You
Yeah, he
get in your
does.
car and you drive to a place that you
do a
don't
very
want to
good
be.
No one
don't-
wants to be at work.
Yeah. So
Well, no one wants to be at work.
no, yeah.
Most reasonable people don't, depending on their job.
Maybe I'll try to think of something for you. So I
I'll
have
think of something.
I have a surprise for you guys, and I want to make sure I have the nickname before I give you guys the surprise. It's a really good surprise. It's not a dumb one. It's not a Jeopardy. It's not a trivia game. It's not a bit. It's like an actual cool thing that I was coming up with
And
for
it
you
requires
guys.
me to have a name.
I mean, it would help.
Mine hasn't changed.
Dan, you are fine.
Looking at you two guys, keep changing.
No, I changed it once.
I mean, you can keep mine as the trophy
Well,
hunter.
if you think about it, like,
Even
yeah,
No, you're the giver upper. Sorry, only on Square Enix.
the lazy boy.
Hey.
No, mine's, I am bargain bin gamer worked, but I think I don't know. Can you think of something better for me other than procrastinator or
You
bargain
have
bin gamer?
homework.
I mean, those work fine for me though. Both of those, they both
do.
emulate.
They do.
me.
I mean, the bargain bin gamer has always worked.
Bargain bin
gamer,
gamer.
you procrastinate on buying it because you make sure you get value out of it.
Yeah.
So technically, it works.
So am I switching back to bargain bin?
Sounds good.
Can't
to
go
me.
back and forth. Matt, you don't care. Don't pretend.
Oh man.
Don't pretend you care.
Listen in next week when
An
Andy
important
decides
part
on
of
his
this podcast.
name.
You had a week to come up with one word for yourself. That was just
But I didn't think about it. I was very. I wasn't busy. Never mind.
no. It's all jest. Like, you don't have to come up with a new one if you don't want to. I just thought it would be cool because it would help the thing I'm doing. It's not going to really change anything about it, but it will help just to have it, solidified. You guys, I have a really cool thing. I'm making
excited
for you
'cause,
guys.
again, my name
Again,
is-
this is not a. I know
ecstatic.
I've had a lot of bits on this podcast.
You like your bits. Your surprise bits.
There was a stuffed Pikachu talking at one point. He's over there. He's in the corner. I randomly throw trivia at you when we have nothing to talk about. Like, I understand the credibility that I have here of being, horrible. But no, this is like an actual cool thing I'm working on. Art-related thing that I'm working on for you guys and myself. So I just want to like have it all hammered out.
I'm excited
Okay, good.
because I know it's going to be the collector.
Now I have to
Everyone's
do something.
excited.
Now I have to actually do it. It's just in my head at one point. Nah, I was gonna do it, but like now it
Yeah, but that
kind
goes,
of like Matt with the screenshots. Like now he has to produce.
Yep.
yeah, and also your name doesn't really help the procrastinator. It's not really.
I have not been procrastinating on working on the podcast.
No,
I
no, no, no.
procrastinate
You
about
have
playing
not
games.
about playing games. I'm just saying, like, as your nickname.
Which actually is a negative connotation now that I think of it. Maybe bargain bin gamer should stick. We have spent way too much time talking about this. All right,
Yeah, no one cares at all.
boys, where
don't
can
even care.
boys, where can people find you?
You
Ben,
can find me on Twitter on Matt Talks Games.
You can find me, Dan, at Game Review Guy.
you can find me on Twitter at HighlandAndy, and you can find the podcast at Manabar Podcast on Twitter or the Manabar Podcast on Instagram. You can also feel free to email us anytime at manabarpodcast@gmail.com. Shit, I forgot to say the episode again. God,
What is it, 38?
I don't know.
36. 37.
Some 30.
Doesn't matter. I'm not.
Just 30.
37. You can do the plug at the beginning.
All right. I just keep forgetting. I want consistency here.
We are failing on all fronts.
We are anything but consistent. Anyways, email us anytime at manabarpodcast@gmail.com if you have something you would like to share with us, want us to talk about. We always love hearing from anybody. And, we're on YouTube too if you prefer to check out, watch our still images on YouTube.
They won't
or-
be still anymore because Andy's doing some
Oh, no, the
interesting
podcast,
stuff.
The podcast is still a still image.
Well, yeah, but you could replay the beginning over and over.
Yeah, that's
See
true.
the-
But also, we also have some exclusive YouTube content on there that you won't find on the podcast apps. So,
What?
like the clips and stuff.
Crazy.
You just wanna
That's true.
and gameplay. We don't do let's plays. We should.
We should.
do more.
Well, that's why
I'll
if
do
we
like
all play games
one.
together.
I still have to finish Soma.
Yes, you do.
I promise.
Well, in fairness, I need to play Wind Waker too. So
Yes, that was the deal.
Yes,
which
so-
we both failed.
we both kind of
Okay, and with that, this is Matt.
Yep, just Matt.
The collector.
Such disdain.
I'll come up with something. Anyways, we'll go back to the original for this one. And with this is the trophy hunter, the collector, and the bargain bin gamer laughing off.